You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is part 2 of the 2023 LaPorte County budget hearings. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
All right, we're coming back. We have maintenance 142, building maintenance. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, everybody.
So what are the changes in your 2s and 3s?
We've got four categories that we're asking for increase. One is in our gas, fuel, and oil of $5,000. The second one is repair of elevators, which is $9,000. That $9,000 reflects solely towards the New Michigan City, because the contract with Schindler Elevator is $9,000 there, and it didn't figure into it didn't work out with the budget that we already had with Otis, because Otis actually had an increase also for our elevator services here. Trash removal, it's just, we've reached out to several of our vendors. We've talked to the Waste Management. They're looking at an increase. It's caused from fuel and wear and tear on the vehicles, everything. I mean, so they're looking at it around a $4,500 increase this year. And that's still, every year we're a little short there. We're just trying to do what their increases are going to be. And then the electric. Electric has just been astronomical this year. We're looking at, we tried to balance it out what we believe it's going to be. We believe we're going to be somewhere around $160,000 short this year, somewhere in that area. And it's just because of how it's came back. I mean, to give you an idea, in 2020, in January, we spent $78,000. In 2021, we spent $78,500 per NIPSCO. In 2022, it was $102,345. That kind of increase. Same thing in February. In 20, we had $82,000. In 21, we were at $74,300. In 22, we were at $98,000. So we've just seen a huge drastic increase. Our average is right around $87,000 a month right now in NIPSCO. So we're going to be short this year and have to come before you later in the year, but I don't want to do that until I see what I have in other areas and I can move some money around and only come for what we need. And that's the only areas that we're looking at.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Mullenhour on the question. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Where'd Mark go?
He had a phone
On
call.
the phone.
All right. That's it.
All right, thank you very much.
Don't have any,
Everybody have a wonderful afternoon.
You too. Thank you.
Quick question, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
As we're going through this,
Yep.
the 100 accounts, there's 2 of them at the bottom. Are those add-ons? I mean, why did they get below the 300s? On our sheet, the last 2 lines are,
I have no idea why they got.
The HP technician, I think it's just the way it printed. They're not.
Yeah, I think, because those should have been up top,
Yeah.
Mr. Cunningham.
Okay.
Those should, they're not add-ons.
all right, that's what I just want to
They're
clarify.
existing, those are existing positions.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
While we have a break, I just want to share with everybody, I asked the recorder the question about the documents, how far things were behind. And over a year ago, they were over $500,000 records behind. They've cut that down to $273,000.
You wanna cover
And
that
based
too?
upon the conversation, she's going to be reducing that even further because of the slower real estate times right now.
Right.
So just wanted to give you, she was excellent to give us such a quick follow-up, so wanted to share that with everybody.
Larry's gonna give an update on FMEC too, so.
Yeah, I mean, FMEC is part of it, so I didn't know if you wanted me to give you a quick report.
Sure.
So,
We have nobody else there, so.
yeah, so in the upcoming year, I mean, talking with the FMEC, there's 2 projects that we'd like to get out, and that would be the bathrooms at the north end of the grounds, which we've already reached out to engineering firms to give us some engineered drawings so they can go out to bid and get it done. And then also the remainder of the campground, which would service 128 new campers, and it would be a full hookup. Right now, we're starting to see a lot of people that want to come and camp off season from the fair, and they want to stay all the way until November. And last year we could have had some there till into December. So the water is something that we've already gotten taken care of out there. It's just the electrical part, and we've reached out to a couple engineering firms. We're waiting on pricing back. We've gotten one for the bathrooms, which was $20,000 for engineering stuff for them, and we've gotten one back for $60,000. We're waiting for another one for the electrical. But those are the two projects that FMEC and has said we'd like to look at in the upcoming year to get those things going. So,
Right. Mr. Yagowski.
Sorry, I kind of walked in. I had a question to ask. Terry can remember we put the sewer and water out there for the campers because that was supposed to be the same thing they said 18 years ago, but it didn't really pan out. So I mean, what do we think we're going to do different as far as that? I'm not saying it's not valuable.
okay, so what we've done with the sewer and water, when it was hooked up now, you're getting, and Terry knows, you're getting 2 and 3 or 4 campers hide into one riser. And I'm getting pictures of everything, how we did this newest run. Now it's a frost-free hydrant that will supply 4 campers, and then what we have is, during that spot, there's 4 separate sewer with the caps, so they tie in their own. Everything is 5 foot deep. We could leave it on all year round if need be. Sewer's been done to code where everything is 10 feet apart from each other.
Everything done prior to this and what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Is what they did is they tied the campgrounds into that sewer line that ran across there.
Right.
But we didn't run the sewers in the campgrounds, so to speak. That wasn't the county.
And as Terry can
That
attest,
was-
the electric is run right with the water lines in the old, so this time we've separated everything out the way it is to code. It's just
The old campground has to be blown out and shut down.
yeah.
The new campground can be year-round, and we have people out there that want to stay out there year-round, so.
We're trying to pick up the Notre Dame traffic and some of that
I
because
understand. I
they
just
could
asked.
rent this thing out all the time.
No, I don't disagree with you. I just asked the difference between
Yeah,
that's all.
yeah, so, and the electric is just something that we're trying, all these new campers are coming out, they need 50 amp service. We talked about putting Wi-Fi out there so that their Wi-Fi is better, so that when they come in, that way they're wanting to stay the whole time. So those are the improvements that we're trying to get engineered right now, and we're gonna come back to, I'd like to, if possible, have a workshop so we can, everybody's on the same page of what they'd like to see, and then we can come with the engineering costs and then get it out for bid for everybody.
Right.
You're gonna be able to compete with campgrounds, I guess, basically.
Well, right now, we're starting to see, they're coming, we had 12 of them last week that were in there, and a couple of them left, but we're getting calls all the time, is there room on your campground? And you're right, Terry, the campgrounds are full, and people want to come out there, and we get a lot of compliments, people love staying out there.
Mr. Rosenbaum?
Yeah, Larry, I don't know if you know during the fair, how many more units we were able to accommodate during the fair. I know it's a number I probably should get from the fair.
They turned down a lot, and that's the thing, because we were only able to take in they took an extra 12 into the 6, but we had to do some temporary electric for them, but they didn't take on a lot because electric out there won't hold it, because they're all the bigger campers. But like I said, we're looking at doing 128 new campsites that will service these big campers, and then the goal is to take the old section for your smaller campers because they don't need as much, so it would be a lot less cost in that area. And with that, we're going everything would be underground, so it's just a lot safer for everybody too. I mean, as you know, we had this storm this last weekend, and we lost a pole out in the main parking lot, and the overhead lines are down. So we're trying to complete these projects thoroughly through now.
So what you were just saying is that we're trying to get the tall lines, the ones that are
Yep.
above the ground on poles, now underground.
Yeah.
So that it makes it a lot easier and less dangerous. And
And there's several things. I think once FMEC, we get the next meeting in, we'll get a complete survey, pictures of everything for everybody to see. And I would love for everybody to come out and take a walk and see exactly, now that the fair's out, they can see a lot of what's happened out there. And Darlene's been a lot of help with the Wi-Fi and everything. Everything's been improving a lot,
Definitely.
so.
Thank you.
Mr. President. Hey, Mr. Lake, did you come for our conversation, or we just?
I have an answer for you, I know exactly what.
Okay.
Oh, are we done with?
The 4 boxes of paper, talking about?
Finish yours, yeah.
I'm done.
Oh,
You done?
first.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Anything else, Larry?
Nope, that's it.
There's some with the paper, it's like combined.
Oh, the paper.
Yeah.
He's talking about the paper. We got an answer on the paper.
we ordered from Kemp's because when we moved in, we needed paper to be able to do work, to send out letters. That's what it was for. It wasn't for printing our own pamphlets. It was actually doing work. You're talking about the 4 boxes of paper in February?
No, that we just got yesterday in a work order for
I don't
pamphlets.
know anything about that. I know there's 4 boxes of paper that we ordered early in February when we moved back to the courthouse.
No,
We have high usage now coming out of your 4D unit.
Yeah,
They
they
said
just
that's
ordered
what
3
we're
more
concerned
boxes
with.
yesterday for pamphlets.
You should for pamphlets.
Yeah.
I'll look into it. I don't know.
It was Tracy, we got the work order for it, so we did not deliver
When
it
did
just
they
for.
do
some
it
fact-
before then?
There was 2 to 3 cases last week, too, so it's
Paper?
been.
What kind of paper? Just
Regular.
regular,
Yeah,
just regular paper.
Very-
Sounds like a paper caper.
I mean, we send out a lot of letters and stuff.
Hey.
Needs a lot of.
We'll get to the bottom of this. Thank God we got a
prosecutor on this one.
prosecuting, investigator on this one. Pat Cicero's available if you need him.
All right,
Just saying.
let me send it out.
All
All
right.
right, we're done.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody, have a
done?
wonderful afternoon.
No, I was gonna ask for FMEC. I mean, at what point or when do they project that the county will start seeing a profit? I mean, like how many years, like 10, 15 years?
The county would see a profit?
Yeah.
Never.
Porter County's been there for, how long's Porter County been there? So Porter County, when we started FMEC back in 4 or 5 years ago, we went over to Porter County. They have an expo center, they have everything else. Their budget is $500,000 a year. They're about $80,000 short of covering that cost when we talk to them. So,
And they've been in existence how long? They've been doing this?
Probably 25
Yeah.
years.
yeah, they have the structure that we now have.
And they've had it for a long time, for 25.
Right.
One thing I'll say about the campgrounds, last year we had 3 campers that were there, and they left during fair and then came right back after fair. This year, we've had an average of 12 campers that are there, and from what I understand, this week there's calls for people wanting to know if they could come in now that fair's gone. So we're anticipating possibly having 20 to 24 campers in there, and we're seeing a lot of travelers. A lot of the construction site, there's a lot of good construction going on. A lot of these people are travelers, so they want to stay. But the problem we found last year is they couldn't stay after November because we have to blow all the water out. Now we're trying to get to that point where we can keep the water, but we don't have the electric at that area yet.
How are we getting our word out that we know that? I mean, I understand that some of these are by,
It's been word of mouth right now because we aren't
We haven't-
100% ready and set up.
if we,
It's still the old system. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it is. There's a website, the Fair Board puts it on their website. We have the new sign up that we could actually put it out there. So, I mean, it's surprising. A lot of these people are local people that just travel. They leave to go to Arizona during the winter. They come back. I mean, three or 4 of them that are out there I talked to, and they come back in the spring and want to stay here.
what's the going rate for a night with a camper?
I can't answer that one because that is handled through, there's an agreement with the Fair Board and FMEC, and then we take a percentage because they handle the actual rental right now of it.
They handle checking people in, doing everything, and then we get 65% of the profit. And they get a small handling fee for the stuff that they do, so. But I want to, I'd be reluctant to say what the cost
I can't,
is.
I can't remember. Terry, you might remember from time over the years.
Not really, but I know that during fair, that was the fair's moneymaker, was
Oh,
that campground.
yeah, and if-
Undoubtedly, so.
And like with we're in talks with PGI for next year out there. And one of the big things is the campground. They gotta have the campground. There's an RV group that's coming in that's gonna rent the entire grounds.
Yeah.
And they want all those, campsites. So
These
there's,
Silver Bullet campers, the old ones, there was one that we wanted to come here, but they ended up going to Elkhart, but they wanted 400 campsites, which by increasing this, we could have got them 400 campsites, I believe. It was 360 to 400, somewhere in there. But, you know, they wanted to come and just rent the whole grounds and all the campground for a week. Well, you rent out 400 campsites for a week. That's huge.
so to go back to Mrs. Grammarosa's question, when do we think the county would no longer have to put in money? I guess when the infrastructure and the things are fixed and up to speed, but there's still a couple buildings that need to be, the old beef and the old dairy barn need to be brought up to speed.
Yeah.
There's still some electrical things, and I know we've talked electric, but you gotta understand there's so many different types of electric out there that we gotta do. The bathroom, the campgrounds, then it's gonna be,
Well, when we talked about this 3 years ago, and we started in out there, there's a 5-year plan. We're about a year behind on that 5-year plan of getting some of these, and I call them the key money-making things. Your camping, your reasons that you can rent it out, which means you have year-round bathrooms. Because one of the biggest things out there, and it's been amazing every year it happens, is the Pioneerland Christmas that they have out there. So if you think you could do other things that would help out with that, you know,
I think they're a little upset about the Pioneer Christmas.
what's that?
Yeah,
I think that's not one of the top.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
but
it did
it's,
not go well
That
last
was-
year.
but it'll
that's
be better
gone.
this year, because that, all that,
Magic lights.
but that's always been a great time. I mean, the kids, the families, they love it. They love it. It's always been a great time. I mean, I've gone out there and it's a great weekend.
so the thing that I just wanna add is, this is the 176th year for the fair. It's been at this site for 60 years.
60 years.
Terry, you were there when you moved. 1960. I was born about then, yeah.
So, but the thing is up until 5 years ago, aside from the sewer that ran across the property,
Yes.
the county has put, for the last 50 years, I could not find one dime that the county has put into the grounds, other than the highway department going out and helping, maintenance, different people like that, doing, you know, in-kind things. But the county has invested nothing into the actual grounds and the buildings and the maintenance of those things. So there's a lot of makeup to do in the last 5 years. I mean, for
And I got it.
years of,
Not to, but I got a real good education. We had NERPC out there with us, and we were out there in the evenings, and I got to talk with all of them and understand some things that I didn't understand that they did. So they're actually going to work with us to get some grants, because one of the things that the goal is we're trying to put 2 miles worth of walking trails in out there that will actually at some point tie in with different areas. So they sent me into some lines of different ways that we can get help to get these walk trails in. Talking to the people that came.
Mitch couldn't do that?
Mitch Kent, NERPC, the NERPC guy just happened to be there. Yes, yes.
And
Walking trails, specific walking
and
trails.
yes, and Mitch might be able to help. I got to sit down with Mitch a little bit and talk to him about that. One of the other things is we had a beautification plan of all the trees. Well, I didn't realize, and we've got a great agreement with NIPSCO. Whenever there's a disaster, we open up the grounds to NIPSCO. They come in, they have a building, they put all their trucks there, and they distribute from that area during any disasters that we have up here during storms and stuff. So I didn't realize that they have a tree thing that they will help you to replant and put in new trees and stuff. So we're trying to put in 30 brand new maple trees. So we've met with Jen from NERPC. She said she's going to get us the contact. So we're working on those areas to help with some of these improvements too.
And we have a
Hey, the
contract.
president of the NERPC board is about 6 rows behind you back there against the wall.
Good.
All right, well, you better be listening. We have a contract with a landscape architect, John
Rubel.
Yes.
Yes.
And so he's designed plans out there to make it a lot better and a lot more attractive too. So.
I mean, it was a great, I'll be honest, the Fair Week was a great week in the evenings. I met with a goat group that wants to bring a national goat show to this area. I mean,
Who'd have thought?
Getting back to it, Connie, we still have to have that conference building,
Right.
commercial building, that would help you also.
to have the commercial buildings enlarged and redone and a lot of things, I think that's where a workshop would really help to get a lot of ideas of different people. And it would bring a lot more.
And the thing is
Terry,
we
you are
don't
100% correct.
We don't have a problem renting them out to people for the quinceañeras. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. For those kind of things and
Quinceañeras.
Quinceañeras, there you go.
and
trying to figure out what
and
the heck
some
he was
weddings
saying.
and stuff like that, but it needs to be spruced in there
Yeah.
to get to the level, and we're gonna do a wedding venue in that little park area and different things like
We
that,
have,
so.
we'll send out the design to everybody, but I'll tell you, from next week on, I think every weekend is booked out there with the quinceañeras, is that?
Quinceañeras.
Quinceañeras. That, we have Goodwill has got a picnic for kids out there,
taking
and they're
almost the
taking
whole ground.
large. Pop Warner's coming out there. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on out there. I think
There's a concert.
there's a concert coming. It's a church concert that's coming. Ducks Unlimited's coming out there. So there's a lot of things that are coming. So, you know, those are things that are generating some revenue.
Right.
And you know what? We're starting to see more because people like the way the grounds are starting to the appearance.
Thank you, Larry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because one of the things we're trying to do is get rid of all the wires above to get
Yeah.
wireless speakers and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, Darlene's been coming to all the meetings, so she's
Yeah.
up to date on everything we're doing there.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next is the Circuit Court. It's here to speak about FMEC. See if he was paying attention to what I said.
Where's he
I'm
at?
gonna try out the walking trails once I get a new knee.
Midday, after lunch.
Circuit Court. Hang on one second. Let me
It
find
was
it.
right after.
About a half inch in.
I wanna say it's because of all the soccer I played when I was a kid, but it's probably about the 50 pounds I've been carrying around for the last 40 years.
All right, Judge, what do you got?
Not much.
No changes.
No changes that I know of.
There is a little change, so just haven't found which one yet.
It's got to be in the 100s.
Oh, no,
It is.
Yeah, the 100s don't.
Secretary Administrative, isn't it? No, the adopted.
Did somebody go up a
The
step?
adopted budget last year for this year was 91,000 and went to 119.
Does that include the 100s?
that's the second line item on our budget.
He doesn't have that. He doesn't.
Oh, legal interns.
Is it 10135 you're talking?
101.
Secretary Administrative Office Manager.
What's the
One just
number?
above it, 10117.
Second line on our sheet.
Well, that's all the 100. So other than people stepped up, did we?
Did you add a person?
That was Aaron.
Oh, we added a half a position. Yeah, we took a position from juvenile probation and put it up there. That's what happened, and split it between two magistrates. Yeah.
And so the bailiff is making less money next year?
Because Jason worked for the county for 20 plus years, so he was.
So it's a new
stepped up.
person?
Yeah, well, she's relatively new.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question, 30088, it's psychological services.
Oh, lovely. We spend all of that every year.
I was gonna say, is 11,000 even enough?
No, so what we do is we take money from the inmate care of inmates usually, and we usually have to transfer out of that because our care of inmates can be a bunch of other things, and so yeah, we've been doing a lot, and
Technically, that could fall underneath that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I got a new one today. I have somebody who we're evaluating for competency who just filed a motion to be their own attorney. That's a first.
It's a wonderful life.
wow.
It's kind of reminds me of the Abraham Lincoln quote, right?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Mullenhour, seconded by Mr. Rosenbaum.
I have one other question. The money that we were talking about with the CASA, is there any way that you can contribute to that? We had to pay.
It was always in my budget, and I always said, my budget has never gone up other than 100s. In fact, we've cut positions. We've never spent a dime more. I don't think we've ever had a dime more than in any of these. We've had less in some of these. And it was something that was just put in my budget and was raised periodically without even me asking. And I always said, why is it in my budget? I don't control that budget. I think you guys put it elsewhere.
in
The fact is that the Indiana Supreme Court gives them a grant every year, about 60, I don't know, last time I checked it was 63 some thousand, I don't know what it is, it may vary from year to year, and then the county has always supplemented it. But
They're
it's,
also running more programs now,
right.
So
so.
currently, then, are you aware of that, Mike, that they hit the 60,000?
I don't know what it was last year. Last time I checked, it was around that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
But I think you're talking about
Jackie
Dermody.
Germany, what is that one called?
The what?
Well, it's the Harmony House, which is also Family Advocates, which is CASA, Kaya. So they have three different programs that they're running.
Right.
Of all of which they are supplemented by grants and funds as much as they can get
Yeah, the CASA comes
hands
from
on.
the
But the
Supreme Court.
court ordered stuff is different. they are providing those people, and they get
that's why
a tiny
that's
fee for it.
But that's why the Supreme Court gives them that money every year.
So,
Yeah.
so CASA wasn't a cool name anymore, so they wanted to call them family advocates.
It's because they
it's still-
expanded their services, probably.
It's still CASA. It's a name they liked.
Yeah,
It's Casa Plus.
CASA Plus.
Okay, explain to me then what, you've got two types of CASA, and then you have court-appointed visitations.
Not that I know of.
No, it's all the same.
No, they have supervised visitation, but the parties supposedly pay for that.
Well, they're supposed to.
They're supposed to.
and then there's the additional.
Well, there's a sliding fee, they only pay what they can pay, so they never pay enough. I'm just trying to distinguish this. If a child is in court, there's somebody, we have these volunteers that are advocates, correct?
No. We are obligated to give them an advocate or a lawyer if we didn't have CASA
Right.
to represent the child's interest in Chin's cases. Yes.
Okay.
Because it's an adversarial system where it's the state versus the parents, but nobody
So
represents
it's
the kids.
CASA is court-appointed special advocate. That's what that stands for, right?
And if we didn't have them, then we'd
The
have to be
family
paying.
advocates is not a court-appointed special
That's-
advocate, it's a court-appointed visitation,
We didn't start-
supervised visitation.
It's completely privately run. We didn't start that. They have a supervised visitation. I suppose anybody else could do that as well. Since they're there, a lot of the attorneys utilize it and put it in their orders.
Are those done at like Dunebrook and different places?
Actually,
I don't know.
no, well,
Because let me tell you, in 16 years, you know how many divorces I've done?
How many?
Because you couldn't pay me enough to do it.
anyway,
I have a magistrate that handles that.
they actually have some homes around.
Because I find that the criminals are actually more rational than most of the people going through divorces.
It's a good thing the Westville Indicator left.
They have rooms. They have
The house downtown.
They have the house downtown. They have one they rent it out. They have areas that they put people together. They had one in Michigan City over there by 7th Street.
Yeah.
So there was different locations they have that for Michigan City and LaPorte. It's all the same program.
Yeah, and the Kaya is something that they've done now for use. It's a diversion program and try to get mentors in for youth that are going through things. And we also use them through the youth mental health court that we've started.
Any other questions for the judge?
Yeah, what are you going to do when Chris retires?
Retire. We're going together.
Retirement party for already?
I thought we already had.
We already had you retire.
What day would we have to say if we're going to put that on the schedule, Judge? Your retirement date.
She works 2 days a week. I'm retiring at the end of my term, and let everybody know that. So
Any other?
I'm sure they're starting to line up.
Wait a second. Are you sure?
I am. Trust
Any
me.
other questions for 148?
And we wish he wasn't.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Next item is Juvenile Center 176.
Mr. Lake's here, let's do that.
Mr. Mike, I think, is online. Is he or is he here? Erica can't be here because she's got.
Yep.
Can we get him unmuted? Mike Callahan, please.
Mikey,
I'm unmuted. I got it.
we hear you.
You got any changes on your 176?
No, sir.
Again, we got a unit leader at the very end. What's up with that, Vaughn? All right. I'm going to put a little note here. This has been taken care of.
I have a.
That was the same thing with.
I'm looking at some reduction here, and I'm just trying to figure out why. And it just might be step increases on people because they can change over.
We've had a lot of newer people come in there.
Yeah, because 14,000 is not a lot when you talk about the number of people that work there, and that's easily, if there's 14 people replaced, it's easy stand. So I'm just trying to.
Well, you're looking for that.
And we're still charging DCS, and I didn't get the number for this year, but usually we're somewhere between $450,000 and $600,000 a year we get back from them. That goes in the county budget.
So far this year, Judge, we've gotten back from DCS $226,972
To date? So
to date. Yes, sir.
we're in that 450 range again for the year, probably.
So a couple of questions, just small ones.
There's nurses.
I'm sorry.
The nurse should be different. I believe that there's a request
To increase the nurse.
She's been there forever, and for some reason,
Right, it was reclassified. Remember, it jumped 2 positions and,
from 3 to 5.
yeah.
So we'll have to deal with that when we.
On your, just out of curiosity, on 10111, the first one, elected head, department heads and stuff, I'm assuming that's a typographical error that the adopted for 2022 was 649,000.
There was an extra 2 in that number, some type. Typo.
I'll sign up for that.
So a question here under repairs, numbers varied so much over the years. You haven't spent any money according to this number right now. It was 8,000 last year. This year's 8,000.
One of the wonderful things about not
Repairs equipment.
One of the wonderful things about not having as many kids over there is they don't break things as often.
Okay.
The county put a lot of money in it a few years back. We repaired some doors.
Right.
Bathrooms. Bought some bathrooms.
Toilet.
And paved the parking lot. And so thankfully we didn't have to do much this year.
And the other question here then would be.
But I mean, the building is 30 years old now.
Yeah. 3125 insurance bond, $0 spent, zero before. Is that something that it was out there just hanging?
I'm not sure. I'll have to ask Eric about that. I thought that we used to have an insurance bond on the person that took the money.
But that might be covered now by the commissioners.
Oh, that might be why.
310.
So if that's the case, you could probably take that.
Right. 31001 drug testing. It's even a couple years ago, you $150 you spent. This year you haven't spent $0.
Right.
Did you ask for $1,500? Just there.
If we need it, we're going to have to use it. But if we're not using it, you need it.
What do you think, Mike?
Does go back to the? Does any?
I'd rather not see that go away because at any given time we could get a bunch of kids in here who we need to test.
What if we left $500 in there and you can always come back and ask?
Would you be okay if I conferred with Erica and then got back with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, is this
Let's go back to our budget, or no?
Is this our funding or is this state funding? This right here.
Okay.
All yours.
So it could come back.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, please.
Yeah.
I think
We get some funding from the
Sure.
DOC, but it's only for like
It's okay.
the electronic monitoring equipment and stuff.
All right.
Right.
Juvenile Services, 176, knock 30012 from $8,000 down to $2,500.
Wait, what did you take that to?
That's from repairs. equipment on the second
30012.
page.
We almost paid
Yeah, they
money.
didn't use any.
And what are you taking it down to?
2,500.
And if they need the
If
last.
they need something fast for it.
The only thing is, if a washer or dryer goes out, that's 10.
I just put in a request this morning for one of the washers because it's not working.
Okay.
And those commercial washers.
Those are
probably
not
cost that.
cheap.
But if you put in for a request for a washer, that means we're paying for it anyway. It's
No.
not
I
coming
put
out.
in a request to have it repaired, and I don't know how much that's going to cost.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Well, you still got money this year. This is next year.
Yeah.
Get it fixed this year.
Don't break it next year.
Right.
All right. Instead
And then
of, instead of 2,500, I'll make it 3,500. Okay.
I would like to fight for that 8,000 because I'm going to tell you, I used to work in maintenance. I worked in an old building such as this is. Stuff breaks, and I know we can come to you guys for more money, but I'd rather it be there so I don't have to come, requesting for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So my motion still stands. So 3,500 for 312. For insurance bond, you have no idea what that insurance bond's for?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, then it's asking for 425. I always keep $25 in there. I'll knock 400 off. I'll give 25 in case you need to have an account number, because you haven't been using it over the years. And then knock 31001, because I've seen nothing higher than $500. So knock it from $1,500 to $500. Drug testing.
Let me ask you one other thing. Is that your motion, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Gusky? Is there a second on that first?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Grammarosa. On the question, the salt, is that coming out of the maintenance department now, or are you guys paying for that? Because at one time, you guys were, I shouldn't talk so loud. One time, remember, the salt was just an astronomical amount.
Because of the city water.
And I think we may have brought that under the maintenance department, so.
I think maintenance is giving us the salt now, but without Larry here to ask, I honestly don't know off the top of my head.
We buy in mass quantities for that because the city water is that bad.
Yeah.
I actually went to the city, one of our meetings, I went over there and they said, yeah, you gotta use that much salt.
It's well water, yeah.
It's true.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other questions?
Are there 3 reductions or 2? I'm sorry.
3.
We missed the second one.
Okay, the first was on this, all on the last page, 30012 from 8,000 to 3,500. You go down 4 lines to 30125. The 425 becomes 25. You go down to the third, the one just below 31001, and 1,500 goes to 500.
Got it.
Okay? And I was going to make a comment. There have been several grants received, and you've gotten fencing and planters, and all these are somewhat related to programs for the youth, but it also adds to enhancing the property as well.
Right.
So a lot of people may not know that here, and I just wanted to make sure that they're aware of it. And also through the JDI program, which is a learning program to get additional funding to do different types of programs for the youth that have to attend school there or live
Correct.
there
To,
and have to attend school there.
So you can get credit recovery and things like that.
Great.
Correct.
Yeah, excuse me, I did miss, is one more question. Residential allowance, I forgot, what was that for? That was paying money, it's $500.
Account 20059.
So on the first page, the fourth from the bottom, but I don't know if you're looking at the same thing we are.
Is
Tell me what it is again.
20059, residential allowance.
is there a bookkeeper there? Ask her.
Sharon's on vacation.
Oh, Sharon's on vacation. Okay.
Yeah.
Looks like we took
Hang on 1 second. Let me see if we add those.
0 and, it looks like 0. And by the way, while you're looking real quick, we got it. Just curious, you have cooks, you've spent no money so far, but you're also asking for the same amount, a little slightly higher?
No, we don't have, because our cook got sick, and so they're
Yeah.
contracting it out right now.
And is it gonna remain contracting out?
Yeah.
We're having a hard time finding it. Every time we find somebody, they last a couple weeks or so.
So how's it working contract?
So the situation is, we were looking to see if you could add them into the jail contract, but that group didn't want to buy into there because of the
Different requirements.
requirements of the food requirements.
So,
But in reality, now that our population there is so low,
What about the LaPorte schools?
yeah, maybe we should contact them and see if we can
And that would make
buy them
most
off
sense.
them.
You're very close. You could go to LaPorte High School and pick up the
maybe
food.
Erica, when she gets back, or Mike, see about outsourcing the kitchen.
She's been doing that, and nobody has bid on it.
We've been talking for quite some time. Well, when the sheriff did it,
Right.
we tried to.
But then the private company didn't want to buy into having to have 2 different sets of nutritional
Nutritional requirements.
And
Full requirements would be the same as the juvenile
Yeah, I would think
service.
so, absolutely.
But if I'm not mistaken, the sheriff's providing the food to the community corrections,
Correct.
so they're going right past there.
No, the problem isn't with the logistics.
nutritional.
The problem
Adults and
is
kids.
the problem is you have to meet the federal requirements for.
I think right now the
Nutritional
sheriff's department's providing food for juvenile services, isn't it? Temporarily while the cooks got no.
no, sir.
Okay, I was
They did
told
it for
that.
us for a couple of weeks till we found
Okay.
somebody to cater.
All right.
But after that, no. And I'm nothing against their food, but the kids would not eat anything that came from the jail.
So the question is,
And
That's probably a good thing.
and so before anybody makes a smart aleck comment, most of the kids we have there now are DCS kids. They're not delinquents, or they're juvenile, or they're duly adjudicated. So it's not.
So DCS meaning they're just placed there because of their home situation.
That's why we're getting that money from the.
Yep.
I think we're charging them up over $400 a day now.
For what? I missed that.
For the
Housing.
The DCS kids, and it was like 175, went up. It's close to 400 now.
No. DCS is paying us, which we give everything back to the county. DCS is giving us something in the neighborhood of $750 per kid.
Sure.
And all that goes right into the general fund
Okay, so that,
per day.
so the general question is,
That's even better.
when you had a cook,
Those
was there only one cook taking care of everything?
There was a
One cook cannot take care of everything. No,
There was
absolutely
a cook
not.
and a half. At one point, there was a cook and two assistants.
Okay, I'm good with that.
But
So,
that's back when we had.
I have no problem with that. So on the budget, we have cooks. So we paid $32,000 for it. Are you taking the money out of there when you're doing this catering?
I'm not sure
I
how.
honestly don't know where they're taking the money out of.
I wish Sharon were here.
Can't come
But you know what? I'll
If
get
Sharon were here, I
that.
could tell you.
I'll get
Or
that answer.
Erica could tell you if she was here.
I'll get that answer and share I'll get the answer to that and give it to Vaughn, and he can
That'll be fine.
send it to you guys.
So what do you have? What do you have for residential allowance?
So the residential allowance is things that we do for the kids, like that are on the secure side. They're like haircuts, things like that, because the Department of Correction doesn't pay for any of that.
Yep. So you have all that happened in the last 2 years. You haven't last year.
We haven't done much of that because they're not staying that long.
And then we had COVID for a while, so we were.
Right,
barbers
and
were
we
coming
did
in
have
there.
COVID for a while, so our population was down, and we were actually, and I'm not kidding you, talking today, there's 3 kids down there right now that have been there for a while that need haircuts, and we're having somebody come in this week or next.
Wow.
Okay.
So we're actually going to start doing that again because we have kids who are staying longer.
Okay. If you can, then just find out where you're taking the money out for catering.
For your food, what's the word I'm looking for? Contracted out food, catering.
Let me see if Leanne knows.
So, and if you are, I mean, no matter what it is, we need, if you can get back with a number, because if that is a number, and I'm just going to make it.
I approve them to do that on a temporary basis.
It's okay, I get it, Judge.
But no, but the point is, it's not a long-term solution, and we really should look for a better
We need
solution.
to, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I'm sure LaPorte High School does breakfast and lunch, and they could put together a sandwich or something for your evening meal.
Well,
It's not,
they need better than that for an evening meal.
that's not impossible solution to me. If they want something better than that for an evening meal, then get out of juvenile.
Some of them aren't there because they did
Some
something.
of them are there because they're in bad homes.
Well, they're not gonna starve on breakfast and lunch from the school system and a sandwich, I guarantee you that.
Are we waiting, Mike? Did you have
Sadly,
something?
it'll be better than what they
Leanne's helping me out here.
It's the 2.
Trying to call our office too. They're not answering.
20039
Food.
is where it's coming out of.
It counts as food.
Says food.
There you go.
So instead of just purchasing the actual food itself,
Actually, the food itself is being purchased and it's
Yeah.
being prepared there.
Yeah.
And they're paying the person to prepare it, right? Is that what we're doing?
That's correct, sir.
And we're not. You're not asking us for seriously more money when the costs have gone up for food
No.
because
we're
the
not.
population is down.
Correct.
Correct.
What you don't remember is when we started here, we were getting grant money back on the deal
Yeah.
for the Department of Education, and it was going to a little slush fund there, and you guys were paying for all the food, and all the reimbursement was staying out there. And when I discovered that, I think I gave it to you guys
You did.
back.
You returned it back. Yeah.
Is there any other questions on 176?
Just simply the fact that I get that. So if this $63,000 is the number coming out, like you said, I think we can find a better short term than spending the upper number of 172 of 33,000 in additional dollars for how many children now?
Well, it varies, but
Roughly.
3 today
I've got 6 kids total today.
and 3.
Three and three.
We also have, we have the other programs during the school year. We also have 4 kids in Nova in Michigan City, and we have 1 kid in
But
Nova
don't the
here.
schools send
And
that
Novas
food?
are the other programs where we're getting
Yeah.
paid from DCS to keep them off the streets during the after school hours. And so they get a meal there if they're.
I got a funny feeling I'm really not being smart, but I think that a local restaurant would cater prices that would take the food and that into a whole lot better, and they would love to have service of delivering 10 meals out there.
They just got to make sure they meet the nutrition.
Well, yeah,
Is it an RFP or something? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, you did an RFP, right?
Because I think the thing is, how does that work? Don't we have to put the menus out a month in advance and get them approved? Is that how it works?
We have to put the menus out, and it goes through, I can't remember, is it the State Board of Health?
No, it's a
And,
DOT.
Menus have to be approved.
Yeah, the menus have to be approved, and it also goes through DCS, because the kitchen is on the DCS side of the building, so they have to approve the food too.
It's, welcome to government.
It's not an easy solution.
No, but we really need to look for one because
Right, we do. We got to find a permanent fix for it, so.
I agree.
Right. Is there any other questions on 176?
I'm with you, Earl.
No.
Any other questions on 176? None. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next one is 154 juvenile probation.
A whopping $310. Is that what?
I don't know. It's only 300.
Oh, 300. Shoosh.
And that's for office supplies.
Excuse me, I have a question real quick. Did we talk about the nurse?
Yeah, we did.
Oh.
We discussed those
That's a
payroll
100,
things on a
yeah.
separate meeting.
Yeah, separate meeting.
But we did
but
get
I explained to him
information
why the number was probably different in that position,
Okay.
or it was going to need to be different.
All right, thank you.
Motion to approve 154.
Motion by Mike,
Second.
Doesn't matter.
seconded by Mr. Grammarosa, by Mike Mullenhour. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Anything beyond that, we spend user fees on. So.
Right.
All right, and we only have like 10 grand in that too.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, kids.
Hey Earl, who do you think I should talk to?
Did we already do, we didn't do voter registration, did we?
No, she said she'd come over, but because she's the only one in there, I can text her real quick. She's got to lock the office up.
Is,
Ever come now?
Yeah, and then 911. You got information for us?
I'm ready for everything.
Are you coming for your?
Yep, whatever you want.
I like that.
I can do 108, 130.
When a guy shows up with not a piece of paper, nothing.
He's got a phone.
What you got?
I am ready to go. I got information. I determined that was for, they were going to do pamphlets. This is on the 4D stuff. So who do you want outside printing to do? I mean, because they were going to do pamphlets for this back to school thing, and that we give, you know, our prosecutor's office for the 4D to give out to the kids and stuff. So there's a pamphlet that they run.
Two names, there's two, like one's right across the street. They give us a discount for doing that.
Kemp's, well, would you tell me who you want to use, and I'll.
I'm sorry, my mic was off, I apologize. Let me get back before.
Talk to Darlene.
Just email me, whatever.
Talk to Darlene.
I'll tell, because they're just like, yeah, they didn't know that, you know, since we don't have in-house,
Darlene, send him the information on where the printers are that.
wherever you want us to go.
The companies, the two companies that we were using, Kemp's.
I think there was one in Westville.
Right.
And in Hawkins.
So just email me the two, and I'll have them get bids from both, and then, do you want me to come back with the bid, or just do whichever's cheaper? Okay.
Whatever you want, yeah.
I will send it, we'll get that done that way. However you want to do it. They just didn't know.
Yeah, it's just.
I didn't know they were
Print
printing
paper, that's all.
something. I didn't know that. I thought it was for.
Cost, it's actually the printing cost.
Well, that's what I said to him. I explained to him it's the printer plus the maintenance. You're using the machines, and I explained that to them, and then they're
Okay.
like,
Next
that's
up.
fine. We didn't know. So
Prosecutor 108.
Yep. What do you want to know about it? The only we have is step increases, and then we hired someone from the 911, so her pay increase. So that's what that transfer employment pay increase was.
What's the increase in CASA?
That's just what we had was on our budget last year, 90,000. But I think the amount was 87.5. So I didn't know. It's not my
Your
thing.
your budget amount last year was 87.5.
Right. That's what they paid from the state, whatever the grant amount came in. So I thought we had on our budget from last year was 90, I think, when we came here. But the actual amount was 87. So I just told them put whatever we had last year, and then you guys can. So that's not my money. That's just the CASA money. Just we filter it through here. They give it to us, and we give it to them. So if it's 87, yeah, you can cut that to 87,960. I wasn't sure.
Whatever comes through, you're going to give to them anyway.
Yeah. So it's like whatever amount their
So
grant
if they don't
is.
get 90, you're only going to put through 80.
Whatever the check is for. Yeah, that's because I think they asked for 90, but they got 87,960 was the amount, and that's we don't kick in an extra whatever to make it 90.
So there's no other increases in your 2s and 3s?
Nope, it's the same thing. Yeah, and if you look at what we expended, we've had to use some of our law books to make up the difference in the overages and the other accounts since we had cut them. And so I know that we're going to be spending a lot on making up because I was not able to order a bunch of books last year that I wanted to, and so we're waiting we usually wait till the end of the year and then we get the new edition coming out. So right now we've expended $0, but if you look at last year, I think we only spent $2,800, but the additional amount, if you look at the overages on those accounts, that's just what we do.
John, are they physical books again, or are these physical books?
Yeah, some of them are. Yeah, we actually use physical books. We use a lot of we have online research that.
I was gonna say you also do online.
Yeah. There's a lot of online stuff, but there's there's books that we want for trial books. It's not convenient to have your computer. What you don't know is that there's the Wi-Fi is in the courtrooms, and that's not always so convenient. And your computers and stuff, and doing that versus having a book and arguing with the judge and pulling a book out and taking it up is a little bit easier. So some of these trial books that we want.
More dramatic. It's a more dramatic.
It looks better.
Well, it's
the book's behind you.
Yeah, that's true. But also the heat of the moment, you can have that thing earmarked, and you can have whereas on your computer it gets a little bit dicey.
We watch TV. We know what's going on.
So motion to approve
Objection.
prosecutor 108 for the 200, 300 accounts.
Second.
Question.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mr. Grammarosa. Question, Mr. Cunningham.
Line 30030, evidence acquisition.
Yep.
Shows that you've only spent $588 this year. We're 7 months through pretty much already.
That's
You've asked for 8,500.
yeah.
You need the 8,500?
Yeah, I mean, because that's going to be for experts, things of that nature when we're dealing with it, and we have a couple that I know are going to be coming down. So that's one of those ones that depends on trials, and I know we have some murder cases coming up that my deputies have talked to me about it. So it's hard to cut. We've kind of, this has gone down since I came in. We've pretty much bare bones this thing. And a lot of it, when it's not covered by this is where we're picking up those claims on the other account here that we have, the 343 count. So
Great.
yeah, and there's no, and like I said, sometimes when we have that, we have some cold cases, genetic testing that we kind of wait and see to the like October. And we then we'll use that money to do that. So we're like, okay, we think we're good for this year. We can now spend that money on some of these cold cases that we're working on.
Okay. Any other questions on 108? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next one is 4D.
Yep, 137.
137.
Yep. Same thing. I think the only increase here is a step increase in the secretarial. Everything else.
Motion to approve the 200, 300 accounts.
Second. Motion by Mike Rosenbaum, seconded by Mike Mullenhour. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Wait, there's 343.
Yeah, that's not 4D. That's going to be my infraction deferral, Vicky, and so that's what the claims. The only thing would be a step increase in the insurance and on the step increase on our salary, but the claims. This is what we pay, the $122,000 for most of our office supplies and things of that nature over the year.
So motion to approve the 200 account, the claims.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum,
Second.
second by Mr. Mullenhour. Any other questions or comments on 343? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
We all good?
All good.
All right, thanks.
Now that we got the caper taken care of.
Yeah, if I saved it, see, I didn't print anything.
Right. Let's, is voter registration here?
Yes.
Come on down real quick, and then if it's okay, we might take a quick break. Okay, I know. Gotta take a break. All right, hang on a second. Voter registration, let me find.
That was up Just under election board.
Got it.
Clerk and election board.
Got it. Oh, that's an extensive one.
I don't know if we have enough time. You're not asking for anything different than what was last year, correct?
Right.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mr. Graham Morosa. Any other questions or comments?
Nope.
Hearing
Do
none,
you have
oh, that was for us.
do you have a perpetuation fund?
No.
She's like, what?
That's good. You can tell by the look on their face, right?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
You can't do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You need a paper?
Let's,
Barb ready? She's back there.
Barb, you ready? You guys ready? Let's go ahead. I can hold.
I can go on.
I can hold it.
How about, no, wait a minute. She's been sitting.
I thought she came in after Matt. I don't know. She's the one that, she's running the, she's the, Darlene's the,
Oh, okay.
conductor here.
Darlene, you're the traffic controller.
She's hoping that Barb wears us down so that it's not, yeah.
That ain't gonna happen.
Cushions in place?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I hate these chairs.
I know.
We paid special money for those chairs. Those are COVID chairs.
Those are sanitation.
Lots of money on these
Yeah.
chairs.
COVID chairs.
They're what, COVID chairs?
Yeah, to wipe them down.
Not comfort.
177.
Oh, who's looking at the next?
I didn't bring my paper.
Motion to approve the 200, 300 accounts on 177.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum,
Second.
second by Mrs. Graham Rosa.
Question.
Mr. Yagowski.
All right, what the utilities, there's separation of utilities that you're paying for?
So that's what, so everything in the utility account is what we can't pay for out of the state surcharge stuff. So our water stuff, and other maintenance stuff that is not outlined by the state, we take out of that account.
You're not talking like turn on a faucet.
No,
water.
drinking water.
Drinking water.
Yeah.
So bottled water?
The
Coolers.
water coolers, that kind of stuff.
I call it bottled water, but yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Cool
yeah.
water. And what else? I'm sorry. Instead of water?
I'm trying to think what else comes out of there. It's kind of everything that we don't, like I say, we can't take out of surcharge. So,
I mean, I'm sorry. It's a smaller number. We go back and forth. I see from $140,000 to $10,000. It's $10,000.
so I think what happened is last year we had some additional stuff additional appropriations, and we just took it out. We just had it council approved into that. So it's always at 10,000.
I'm fine with it. I seen the 140.
Oh, okay. All right.
I apologize. Sorry.
Any other questions on 177? Hearing none.
I do have a question. I want to make sure that I understand this, Randy.
Yep.
The 146 that was, or 140 that was spent so far this year, is that for like furniture and relocating or something? Well, how did you spend 140 in an account that had an $8,000 budget?
There had to be money appropriated.
That was all stuff that we came before the council and got.
That's why I'm asking, what was it for? Refresh my memory.
I think this year we did the software approval, and
Power phone.
the power phone came out of there, and
We moved your.
Did the council
council's
move
not
it?
last year.
Those were last year.
So it was the phones and
And it
the,
was like 117,000, and then I think we had some money that we encumbered for Marcus Electric.
there were some electrical things that had to be
Had the-
fixed on that
I
ceiling.
remember the
Lights
ceiling
in the
wires were
ceiling.
hanging down.
Yeah,
Wiring.
clean the carpet and stuff.
Right.
Nope.
Okay.
No carpet. Can we? I don't know where this all of a sudden came up because I've been doing this for a long time. When they spend money, we've never seen these on our budgets. Their budget is $8,000. We don't add that. There's got to be a way not that.
But I think the confusion is it says expanded. So if they request the money they request to be put into an account, and that's the account they requested. So when Vaughn's pulling it or Tim's pulling it, that's what it's showing in there. And I agree, it's confusing to us because
it makes it hard.
It's something new because, and I understand either you're pulling it from a different source or of that, but that's fine. But can we find a way not for that to happen, because it just gets really.
I guess we were talking about just leaving off the total budget numbers next year, so you just have the adopted budget to compare to the requested budget, the adopted budget from 2022. So because I'm not sure we can change the system in that way, but we could just leave off that column. So you'll see their expenditures for 2022, their adopted budget for 2022, and then compare it to, and maybe move those columns next to each other, the adopted budget next to the requested budget, so you can see those numbers right next to each other, just better formatting. We can talk about that next year, but.
Okay.
Okay, so one more
Thank
question. And because of that question, I appreciate it. So as far as I can read now, it was $8,000. We spent $7,045 a year before. I don't know what we spent so far this year because we don't have that number. But so what was the increase from $8,000 to $10,000 under these utilities?
On utilities.
Yeah, with I know for sure the water and one other bill went up just from the surcharges and fuel. So we anticipated some going up. So we just added a little bit to that.
Yeah. All right. Wait a minute.
It's their inflationary cost.
I understand inflationary, but we're talking about water, now we're talking about fuels. So you mean
No,
fuel?
we charge.
We charge for the water.
They call it
Add
a fuel charge. They
charge.
add it on the water.
Yeah. If water's going up, you guys drink that much water, it's going up?
No, it's not going up 2,000. It's a combination of everything we pay out of there is going up.
The delivery of the water is going up.
Well, that's
the price
right,
of the water.
yes.
Because they're-
Most of our delivery charges have all went up on everything.
Everybody's charging more to deliver.
Kemp's, which is not out of that one, but office, but even that stuff's going. I mean, we're paying more for that, and
They just come in block.
right.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
So I was gonna ask, so currently you're already at 140,000 that you've spent out of there. And you were budgeted for 8,000, and I heard at the other end they were saying like furniture and stuff like that and moving of councils. So I guess it's kind of like confusing at this point. The 132,000 that was spent so far was in additional appropriations, correct? And just briefly, like what were some of the things? What were those? Because so many things were thrown out here, and we don't know what was, or I don't know what was taken back and what wasn't. So the $132,000 in additional appropriations that were given to you this year, in what, because I know that there's a request for furniture, and someone had said down there about moving councils, and that was done 2 years ago. What exactly, I'm not saying for like an exact, but like itemized, like
So the
what was
biggest
it
ticket
spent?
item is the new software we got, and that was around 117.
Okay.
That was the big one that we came and got approval for, and then the second one was Marcus Electric, but I don't recall that exact number.
And that was an
but
electric bill
That was
that you
all
were
stuff
stuck
that we
with.
came before the council and got additional appropriation approvals.
That was
Thank you.
To redo the lighting and the
Redo
ceiling.
the lighting.
Fix some things that were.
Yeah, to take care of the electrical needs.
Yeah. Any other questions on 177? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next item is 734. This is the actual fund.
This is our surcharge fund, yes.
Right. And I know we've asked this before. And we've talked about this when you've come before the council. Your surcharge is close to not covering all the expenses. And so in the not to interrupt,
No, go ahead.
but in the past, there used to be a lot larger surplus, and you could let that accumulate for a while and do a lot of these larger projects. The cost of everything has gone up, and whether it's the cost of employees doing business and the cost of everything else, and the surcharge hasn't really increased. And we've talked extensively about, and I know even prior to you, when Steve, that's what I meant, thank you, was here about contacting the state about, seeing if there's a way to increase the fund, because it's quickly getting to the point that the county's gonna have to start subsidizing this, because as we're seeing, when your requests that are coming for us, it's not permission to spend out of your surcharge, it's for additional appropriations, because you don't have that
We don't have a cushion.
safeguard in there anymore, so.
We spent almost 2.5 last year in surcharge. We get 132,000 a month. So we roughly, I think it's 1.5, and then normally at the end of the year they do an adjustment, but it's always been the same. So and that's why I moved, or was going to request when we would do the 100s, to move some of the regular dispatcher salaries to the general side. So, and that still puts us at 1.9, so we're still not getting as much in, but it gets us closer to that number, so we quit eating into we're down. I think 3 years ago we were at 1.8 in that account, and Vaughn gave me an update the other day, and we're at 600,000. So in a matter of a couple of years, that's going to be gone.
Is the state at any point, have they been receptive on, we know we got to increase, is the state 911 board looking at?
No, they just had a new director of the 911 board. His name's Jim Schimler. And we get emails from him all the time, but nothing in regard to increasing the surcharge.
Last year they were supposed to discuss it during session,
Right.
but it never.
This is a budget session coming up, so maybe there'd be more conversation about it. But, and I'm assuming that other association, 911 dispatch centers have the same ongoing issue. I just want to see how long Mr. Yagowski's finger will stay in here at this point. Mr. Yagowski, I'm sorry.
It's okay. You had questions.
I know.
I'm waiting. Same question. When we did the 911 center, we had accumulated money for that. I know that Porter County just did. Did Porter County get a special variance because they were receiving more dollars in to help redo their 911 center? Was that a
So that's population based and usage based. So they get
143,
They get,
I think. 144,000.
yeah. So they get 10,000 more than us, but they also have.
The other thing that Porter County is sitting on is when they sold the Porter County Hospital, they're sitting on roughly, probably pushing $200 million that the county uses exclusive for county things. And when we toured the dispatch center over there, I think that's how that was subsidized.
Okay, because I thought that was prior to the sale, and I thought that they had actually received some money, and that's why I was asking.
They just moved into the center this spring? Or last fall?
Last year, I believe.
We went through during the winter time, I think.
Yeah, it was cold.
So, yeah.
Okay. So that was one that had done one recently, but there was no measure to help that in the future.
Last year they did.
And they moved into is it their own building now, or is it?
The sheriff's building.
With the
and
sheriff,
they
The old jail.
But up on the upper floor. Yeah,
And they have the penthouse
yeah.
with
Penthouse
windows.
of the jail.
It's nice.
The fireplace?
It's nice. It
No.
has windows.
We have
They do have a
They do
quiet
have
room
windows.
though, where you can go and, relax. They have exercise
do.
equipment.
It is nice.
And we just lost another dispatcher to Porter County.
Of course we did.
Go in the quiet room.
Yeah, for the quiet room.
Is there anything else on?
I do.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, so just to be fair to you, you get treated just like everybody else. Well, there's a few accounts that went up, and I just want to make sure I understand them, if you don't mind. We're in the 3,000 accounts, so towards the bottom. One of the ones that we have travel here, and we've barely been using it, and I didn't know what that travel was for, and so I just figured, let me just ask the general question.
So I'd imagine you've heard this a lot today, but with COVID locked us up and all of our classes were on Zoom, but now that everything's opening back up, all of our classes now will start being in-person classes. So our new employees, instead of doing via Zoom, they're gonna start traveling, whether it be St. Joe, Lake County, whoever. We don't host any classes here.
We send for the EMD class, emergency medical dispatch, we send them 3 days to South Bend. And
Okay.
It's back and forth.
No, that's fine. Again, we're looking from nothing to something.
Yep.
And so thank you for that explanation. Maintenance contracts, they're just a small increase, so no thing to discuss there. Radio repairs, we go, again, this is probably something that we've discussed and why you have spent so much more money this year. But we have a $20,000 budget for 22, and we're looking at 30,000. Is there something unique, or is it just that the radios are getting old, or what radios are we talking about?
This is, just so you know, when we talk to the EMA about, thank you, I don't know if that came from Darlene, we're subsidized input. When we talked to them about that opening that they had for radios and the siren repair guy, this is also something that it's in conjunction with you guys and everybody in the sheriff's department about getting a radio person on board.
Well, actually, we feel that the radio person is very important to us. Jeff Wojtrowski did the radios before. I don't know, and then they had a gentleman that did the sirens for a little bit of money, like $170 every 2 weeks, but he hasn't been around in a while. I'm not sure exactly what he did with the sirens, but that was before us, before me. So Jeff Wojtrowski did the radios, and to my knowledge, he did a good job. Well, we have the 800s, and we thought that a radio man would be a good fit for the 911 center because we have all the radios. We also thought that because of I think the sheriff has 240 radios, portables, and
just when this 800 system was approved before my time, but I know Randy, you were around. Everybody was.
Thanks a lot.
Everybody was told that once you guys bought it, they'd have to maintain it. Well, the county-wise, we have 492 radios that will be either us, sheriff, EMA, county departments, not Michigan City.
Right.
And the quote that we got from Chicom to handle these radios is $117,000 a year for that. And that's not
plus additional $40 per radio, or another $19,000 on top of that. One-time thing, but $101,000 a year.
So then, that's to maintain our stuff. Plus, they can maintain our in-house equipment, our consoles and stuff. And then the second option later, once we discuss this more in the workshop, is 911 through you guys in an ordinance can charge a user fee to outside agencies like Michigan City and such, and then they can use our radio guy as well in an effort to save everybody money. That's why we kind of we're lumping it under us, because we can, per state statute, do that.
Sense.
When this first started, Matt considered going to radio school, but because of COVID, obviously that didn't happen. Now we understand that LaPorte City is interested in sending a officer to radio school. I think it's in April, right? Also, so now they wouldn't interact with us unless they wanted to charge us, obviously. So we wrote up a job description, Matt and I did, for a radio person for the 911 center, hoping that we could actually, I don't want to say charge, but supplement.
And I believe Mr. Molnar brought up about having a workshop just on this and maybe some other things, but to get this worked out.
Personally, I don't think a radio guy and a siren guy combined, I don't see how,
Well, nobody really said that for sure. During our discussion at the job evaluation, that was kicked around, but none of us really know. That's why we all, or at least I said, and I think everybody agreed, that's why we need a workshop to get the input.
I don't disagree with that, but I even asked the question at the workshop when I brought the job description up, why lump them together is my...
That was at the evaluation, it wasn't at a workshop.
No.
Right.
Well, no,
Yeah.
true. But a workshop is fine.
It's needed, yes.
Matt, would you still be willing to go and take the class?
I would take the class, but I wouldn't be able to do everything I'm doing now and that.
Right.
It's most of you have seen the issues and emails and of the last 6 months of what's going on in this county with our radios, and we have had a lot of issues this weekend really coming to a head. And we, talking with Chi-Com and IPSC, the best thing to do is get someone in here to redo these radios.
And if there's an update or something on these radios, and there's, how many radios did you say? 3?
492.
492, you have to physically touch every one of them. And in the ones that are in the vehicle, you have to go to the vehicles and physically touch them. So it's an
imperative
extensive.
that we have
right.
somebody that can actually do this.
Right. It's not actually called radio school, is it?
So the state puts on, I think the only one left
Is it
originally.
IPSC puts it on?
IPSC puts it, well, Motorola puts it on, but
Right,
IPSC
right.
pays for 20 people in the whole state to go a year. So now I've been on the waiting list since I started, and we can pay for it our own, and it's like $9,000 to send me, but
Right.
then I'm not gonna be able to do
I think it'd
everything
be
else
great.
I
I
do.
think it'd be
So
great, even if you're not the person, for you to have the knowledge.
the knowledge, absolutely, but
Yep. All right.
Also, IPSC is coming here in regard to last weekend's problem on Friday at 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have a meeting.
Any other questions or comments regarding the 1734?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Gardner. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
One more
Thank you.
question, please. Barb, some of your increases, and maybe they just, maybe, because sometimes it doesn't look good. The one increase is what, 200%?
You're talking about the 177
Salaries.
account?
Yeah.
There's been discussion with their department of the increases, of potential increases. So those were placed in these projections so that you could see
Right.
that the E911, the fund is not going to cover it, and that's the overflow, and that is at fully functional where their payroll would need to be.
And so these numbers, Mr. Rosenbaum, myself, and I believe a commissioner, Mr. Mrzinski, met with Barb and Matt, and we looked at things and compared it to other things. When you get a chance, could you send that comparison sheet to the whole council? I don't know if you did. I know you shared it with me, but it gives you an idea of where all the other 911 centers are, where they start, where the director pay is, and everything else. So this was bringing everything more in line, and that's
Didn't I send you all that from the state?
you sent it to me. I said, could you send it?
Didn't I send it to everybody? I'm sorry.
If you would read,
Could you
just
send it
resend
again?
We will.
Because of this discussion, it'll be
So,
fresh in everybody's mind.
Yep.
That'd be very helpful.
Yep.
Because some of it's like 227% increase.
What are you looking at?
He's looking on 177,
177.
which is where they're forcing them to move stuff over, and
Communication officer? Those are just
The whole thing in general, that budget, required budget to the.
right
on your-
now, all of our communication officers are regular floor dispatchers, 27 of them. Right now are split. We pay half out of 177, half out of 734. To get that number puts us over 200,000 if we leave it all in 734. So to get that number where we're at least trying to break even, it was suggested that we move them all to the 177, and we kept the supervisors, me and Barb's salary, IT, some of the higher ones in the 734. But to keep that number, to bring that number closer, so we're not, because eventually we're just not going to have that money in surcharge anymore, and then
Right.
we're going to
run
be
out of
coming to you
money
for
and-
everything. So we were trying to find a way to get closer. So instead of being the dispatchers being out of both accounts, we moved all 27 to one.
This is 2 million, this is 1.6 million.
I just added all those together, and it gets you down to like a 10% overall request, even with your 100 accounts. I just did that calculation. If I take 117 and 734, put them together because you transferred funds,
Based upon the numbers that we talked about, that's.
then it looks like your 22 budget, 23 budget's only up 10, and there's been other departments in that.
Can you, when you get a chance, can you send us what the fund generates for the year? What you're in other words, project it, I mean, cause.
The 132 a month
For the year, in other words,
1.59,
you know, I mean, at some point,
1.593.
obviously, if we don't move something out of there, do something, it's gonna collide
If
real
it's in
quick.
the email with the other
Yep. Right.
information,
Yeah.
it would be spot on.
Then
So,
we'll talk
thank
more.
you.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right, thank you.
They still reaccomplishing the 144s how it was, like we talked about. This is, they projected this is not, so you put this in the gateway for the budget?
So to back up, Mr. Yagowski, Mr. Cunningham, the 177 that we approved, we're approving moving money out of the surcharge fund and into the general budget.
We were just talking the 2,300.
Okay, so make sure we're talking.
We haven't
So
talked
we're
about
still
the
gonna come
100.
back, so we're not approving the 100s
No, sir.
yet.
No.
So that move is not made. That was Vaughn's question.
Yeah, are they still redoing the 144s?
Did you redo your
I
144?
haven't yet, I waited until today, there wasn't any
So
reason to
do
do it
that-
until today.
You can do that and send it over at today's.
I will get them done. I wasn't sure if you would approve us moving the dispatchers
We're
out
not
of it.
moving, so it's my understanding, the 144s, which I'm not quite sure why this is done this way. 144s was supposed to be the current salary of the people in your center with only step increases for next year.
Okay,
But I mean,
what Matt's asking is, do we do, like we've,
As if nothing changed, today,
has nothing
Alright.
changed?
today, has nothing to do with next year, it's today's.
Just leave the fund the
My
same.
personal feeling is you'd think payroll has all that. Somebody's got all that. You got an auditor's office got to have all today's figures there.
Well, yeah, because when there's an issue, she's the one that calls me and says I.
So you
gave
think
her
all
too
the
much
thing
or
they
too
need
little,
is
so
who's
she's
eligible for
watching
a
it.
step increase and what is it?
That's, it's kind of a bad answer. That's why they've always done it, so you can make comparisons.
I know.
But if it's wrong, so I have to put it in the system in the gateway.
Right.
And it has to be done 10 days before you have budget approvals. And if I put it there now, he'd have all the stuff messed around.
I'm not
saying.
disputing. It's kind of a,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
I can ask somebody who's been around for a while, but even 12 years ago, they still were doing the same way. So you have to have something to go by.
All right.
I'll get them done.
That answer your question?
Yep.
So,
We'll do it like you said.
all right, sounds good. See them out, would you? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that's what you were doing.
Okay, one more thing
No.
before we go,
We're done.
please.
What?
Microphone.
Turn your mic on. Lean into the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. The step increases. Now, I came before you last year and I came before you in January and you took it off the thing and told me to come back at the budget hearings for longevity. I'm basing the longevity, or I'm asking for the longevity for the sheriff's department, for 911. I found out that community corrections, their money comes out of, they're not paid through the general fund, but juvenile services is. So what I'm asking is, as far as the step increases, will you consider an increase? Right now, we're at $50 and $74, I think it is, $50 for afternoon, $74 for the midnight shift. That's 911.
Shift differential.
Shift
What did I say?
differential, not step.
Oh, I'm sorry, shift differential. I've got two things on my mind. So with the, will you consider what I sent in to you? I sent it all to you. I don't know if you still have it and be happy to. I even went over and with last year's 5%, I even adjusted all the numbers and I gave you three options. Will you consider those for 911, the sheriff's department, and for juvenile services? We can't do it for community corrections, but they all have the three different.
Speaking for myself, when we do the 100 accounts and look at raises, I personally would consider it, so.
We'll have it in.
When an individual answer
But when
from
you
each
do the
person.
100s, we don't come before you, do we?
No.
If you want to, people are usually, trust me.
We-
There's 27 people that are department heads that are in there.
You gotta understand, we do,
you've been in the past.
everything is in public.
You've been in the
So
past.
we don't
before,
have private.
Yeah, but I don't remember coming before you
The
for the
commission used to come
100s.
into those things too. Yeah, the 100 counts, you guys all did.
Also, now we go into the longevity. 25 people have been here over 30 years. That was something else I proposed. The step increase for those people. You didn't want to raise it past step 10, which is fine. If you don't want to raise it past step 10, but still, I think those people should be recognized that have been here 30, 36, 39 years, 40 years. And it would come to, with last year's 5%, it would come to like $74,000 a year for those 25 people. Some get $900 more, some get $1,000 more for their years of service, and it would be added on to their salary.
So one of the difficulties I have with it, and we talked about this, you and I talked about this, the county gives the best longevity, LaPorte County does, the best longevity.
I don't disagree with that, Mark, it's good.
So what the problem with is, they gave that for a reason, to encourage people to leave, and then people come back in. It wasn't meant for you to keep getting more and more money goes on. It was to encourage younger people to come into the service of the county. It was never written to help support the latter part of your life as you're working to whatever you want to work. Say you work 50 years. That's nice you work 50 years.
People used to work 50 years and get a gold watch, you know.
I understand, but this is why the county approved that before, and I know we're part of that back there. We gave more money to do that, to accomplish that. That was what the accomplishment was. It wasn't to hurt the people that are older, but it's to encourage them to get your most money you can when your working years, huh?
When you're younger.
When you're younger. It's not a secret. And so, do we give away less longevity and then go with church things? I mean, we're giving a good benefit now.
So then an option would be to, instead of increasing the years, increase the amount that they get during those years now, so that you're compensating, giving them more now.
Well, every 3 years, there's a 2% is what the county gives. Every 3 years, there's a step increase, and at 27, it's 10, step 10, you get 27 years, you get a 2%, and then that's where it stops. At 30 years, which would be another 3 years, 2% of the salary.
Apparently that's where, no, I'm not gonna say it.
Go ahead and say it.
Apparently that's where they want everybody to leave. It doesn't make sense. I think there's another spot for another step in there. I don't know if we're gonna continue it through all the way up to 40 years. But it seems to me like, you could add another step, give some more incentive to it.
There are
and it
people
wouldn't be
here,
much.
Randy and Mark, there are people here that could actually see 50 years with the county. Maybe that's too long, but isn't there some pride in that? Think of how much
I agree.
experience these
they
people
have.
have.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, they've been here, obviously they need the job.
I think there's ways to increase it and do that. Maybe we don't increase it all the way to 40 years, but we increase it some to make
You
a
could
small,
leave it at
small
27.
chunk out of it.
And step 10, you can leave it at 27, but then if I come before you and I say, like Lisa, she just left our employment and went to work for the prosecutor's office. She's got 30 years. She had 27 years with my department, and now she's got weekends and holidays and evenings off, so she's happy. But she's in her 30th year with the county. So at a 2%, if I come before you, or Darlene, she has somebody that goes 30 years and she comes back and says, hey, I'd like to raise their salary, they've been here 30 years, another 2%. It would be up to the department head, but there are 25 people here now that have been here more than 30 years.
I will
Some get a-
recuse myself.
I wanna make
have
sure.
the longest serving county employee in my office. I am recusing myself from this discussion.
I want to make sure I understand this. You're saying that what your proposal is that each individual department
don't
head
wanna
would get to decide?
No, you don't want to, no.
No, they would have to come to you
Yeah.
and say that they now have an employee that's been here 30 years. I'd like to give them a 2% increase with
No,
their
it's not
salary.
that they would like to. There would have to be a policy adopted so the
It'd have to
decision
be
would be
across
made
the
in
board.
advance.
It'd have to be fair and equal.
What you're saying is, that's why I was confused. You don't want to bring your department head in, and what if they don't want to give them a raise?
Well, that's kind of selfish.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's gotta be a policy, not the department heads. Now, the department heads could alert us, but so could the employee.
Well, that's true.
We just have to have a policy.
So I think when we have the 100 account discussions and the budget things, that we can talk more about this.
And I would suggest, Barb, you bring your latest information back to us
I will do
at
that,
that
sir.
time.
Okay.
And if you can, distribute that, so that's gonna be a lengthy email. So everybody.
You want that with this last email?
Yeah, please. Who's on my left?
Connie.
I really do think we should recognize the individuals who have committed their time to staying with the county. You know, the younger people today, yes, there are a lot of good hard workers, but they're not staying in their positions. And when you have folks that are staying in their positions, there should be some type of an incentive for them, because they're no longer employees, they're dedicating their lives to us. And I really think that that's commendable, and there's not that many of them. And so we really should do something for them. That's my opinion.
I'll send all that information. You want the long, shift differential too?
Shift differential, all that stuff.
Okay.
What?
We have a hard copy for our 100.
When we have our meetings, yeah.
Yep, we have a hard copy for us.
Okay, I'll send it.
It's hard to read it off the phone.
Yes,
I'll send it all.
thank you.
Okay, so for the shift differential with community corrections,
Excluding IT.
oh, I don't get it anyway, so.
They
Yep,
have paid
community
out.
I
corrections.
know, but they could adjust their grant request to cover their shift.
Correct, if it's
And
part of
then
their
there are
thing.
some
Right.
of those people that get paid out of the general
I
fund too.
think there's another department, maybe the probation officers or somebody.
Those,
Probation officers or somebody else that get paid through
Through
state
the state,
funds. I
right.
think they've gotten higher raises than our employees sometimes.
Yep,
that's true.
Yep.
State probation does. I don't know about community corrections.
great,
I would ask IT to please stay in her lane. Oh, just kidding.
thank you. Thank you, Barb. Thanks, Matt. What?
You don't want me to stay?
She's done.
Oh. I'll be back. I'll just wait back here.
Don't forget your cushion.
I'm taking my cushion.
All right, thanks. Although she'd probably appreciate that cushion, I'm just saying. So we got community corrections next?
Community corrections.
The newbie perk. Right, how y'all doing?
So it's right after Superior Court one.
I think I'm supposed to go first, and I have a jury waiting for me.
Superior one?
Yes.
Okay,
Didn't see you
Superior
there.
one. We can't tell you.
Sorry,
There you are,
everybody.
thank
Good
you.
afternoon.
We can't tell you're under, sorry.
Is there any changes on your twos and
I
three
think the
hundreds?
only difference between the 2022 budget and the proposed 2023 budget is just the step ups in salary.
Motion to approve the 200 and 300 accounts.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Ms. Grammarosa. Is there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Thank you, everybody.
All done.
Sorry. She knows it
Thanks.
was just 200 and 300.
Hey,
right?
now that we found that, we found community corrections right after, right?
Community corrections. Which is right here. 179.
Jesus. Well, the next one's gonna be fun. Turn the page.
I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I was trying to find one.
It's the other way. About 4 up.
What is it called?
Right after Superior one.
So you added the maintenance contract, is that the one we just approved last night?
Yes.
So that'll be in the budget for next year?
All right, we'll have to ask for it yearly if it's not in the budget.
Better to be in the budget.
And then renovations? That's not a line item, is it?
Never was, not supposed to be. No, 400 counts are not supposed to be there.
Was that back in the day? Was that back when they did the project, Mark?
Yes.
And that money, they had some money left over and we took it? Okay, all right, never mind.
So we're gonna cross off that account.
Oh, I wasn't what that was.
What's your pleasure on 179?
You mean mark that off the 41106 0?
Yes.
Okay.
So, the 3004, I know sometimes these are messed up. It shows you requested $1,500. You haven't spent any money. What's telephone?
The cell phones for the field officers and our administrative personnel.
Haven't taken out yet?
Well, we have two accounts. We have a grant account that we pay them out of first, and then we go to the general fund.
What number is that other telephone on?
It's in the other, it's in 584.
It's in 584, there's a 3004 account, it's the fifth line up. Bottom,
You
it's
didn't-
4,000.
You didn't spend,
And then it's all over. It's in the 591 also.
Wait a minute, okay, it's not all over, because the 584 didn't spend any money either.
Correct.
So he's asking, where did they pay for their phones?
And then on the next one, they didn't spend anything either.
So I'm having a hard time, you would have to know where it's at, all three accounts don't show any money you're being spent.
On phones?
On phones right now, we're only paying out of the 584.
so it
And
shows,
then after that is,
right. It shows in 2021, they didn't spend anything out of 179 on phones.
no, we didn't.
584
And
says,
the other account went into the red because it was depleted for the telephones. It was paid incorrectly out of that account. So then we had to come and ask for an appropriation from DOC last year to take care of that account.
So just explain real quick. 179 is a county budget.
Yes, sir.
584 and 590 are the grant funds.
Grant and project income.
Right. So so the 179 is actually county funds.
Correct.
The other two are
grant
provided from other
Right.
other sources. Right.
Okay, so how many employees do you have on all three of these accounts?
How many employees total?
Yeah.
28.
So how many?
Wait, is that full complement or just what you have right now?
That's just what, no, that's not full complement. I think we're at 24 right now.
Okay, 28.
The 28 is what we need to know. Thank you.
You have 28 phones divided by 3.
No, it's not 28 phones. We have 7 field officers. That's inclusive of our field coordinator
Okay, so
has
you
a
have
phone.
28 plus 7 employees?
7, and then there's the director and the assistant director have a phone, and the residential coordinator. So it'd be 10 phones altogether.
38? Well, that'd be 38 phones if you're talking about. What is it 28 for?
She said she's got 10 phones.
It's
Started
10
out-
phones.
I
All
asked- I asked
employees
total
don't.
employees at first. She said 28.
But then she said she's got 7
But not all
plus
the
3
employees
phones.
have a phone.
Not all of them have a phone.
Okay, so let me try again. It's real easy. 179, $1,500. 584, $4,000. 590, $1,500. That's a lot of money for the amount of phones we're having. What's the purpose of all that? That's what I'm trying to figure out between all three accounts.
They're, from my understanding, they're paid, the grant is paid first, the cell phones are paid by the grant first, then it goes to project income, and then it goes to the general fund.
Okay, so, and I don't have a problem with that, but $7,000 for the amount of phones is a lot of money.
So when you didn't spend any money out of the 179 account last year,
No,
She thinks
For
by
phones.
mistake, right? She thought because she thought it was a mistake and she had to get the agent to pay for it because they didn't do it right. That's what she said.
correct.
But
And
she-
we also have iPads that are being purchased.
But you
For our
can't
field.
count purchase. You got to. You're only used. You can't put purchase down here.
but
so.
they also didn't spend the 2022 adopted budget in 590. They didn't spend any money on phones.
right now, they haven't spent any money at all on the record on any of these three
On any of
accounts
them,
on
yeah.
phones.
Except you admitted that somehow that you did pay some because of mistake and somebody else.
So where are you paying your phone bill right now?
The phone bill is being paid out of the 584 account right now.
Says zero
Under what?
expanded.
And it's roughly about
Oh.
$350
So it's the 15
A month.
they spent.
for the phone.
So,
Is there a reason why these are zeros on our sheets?
so let me help you. Your iPhone or your iPhone or your tablet or whatever you have.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a fee cost to it, you can put the fee down here, but you can't put a purchase price on here.
Okay.
Okay, so there's your numbers are not adding up here. $7,000 of phones. I know you're doing it. I'm not trying to, I'm just saying, but we've got to figure something out. I think
I'm at a point where I
I think it's a point where we might want to take a look at this and see if we can get back with you on this one.
I would almost recommend that sit down with Vaughn and Tim and somebody else maybe.
Who's the liaison?
I am.
Earl and Mike is on the Community Corrections Board, but Earl's the liaison. But sit down and look at this and figure this out, because you're inheriting something that, yeah, so this is.
We're not blaming you, I'm just trying to figure it
No,
out.
I understand.
It's hard, yeah. It's hard.
Because
to
I think there's some zeros in here because things weren't submitted, because I mean, on yeah.
We're gonna meet, can you guys meet at 8:45?
But if there's zeros here and they came in for appropriations to budget it, because they went into red and then they went to somebody last year to make up the difference, but we still have zeros on our lines, where's that money? And I'm sure the money's there somewhere, but, you know, where's the money? Like, why?
But if the previous director did not submit something, a zero went in there, correct? Vaughn?
Actually, DOC sends them what they can spend, all the monies for the grants. If you look up in the system on their fund 9106, the location 584, they don't have a telephone account.
That's just one example, but right now, there's like 10 lines or 15 lines that are zeros.
So is that good that we can, you guys can,
Mike,
try and get this
Mike,
figured?
is there any way you can ask your board or something, because we gotta try to straighten this out, and I know we have 3 budget hearings that we can straighten it out. It doesn't have to all be done by tomorrow, but I think that we gotta get some clarity here. Would you ask your board members if they can meet?
Okay, yep.
I don't know what else to do, I'm just trying to help you
Yep.
out.
I think we could probably go out and meet.
And then we'll just
discuss it
hold
and
this
try
one
and-
over?
Yeah.
Is the
Try and-
question the zeros in the 584 account for our salaries, everything in there? Is
No, we
that
haven't
the
got
question
that
is
far.
being
We're
asked?
like past telephones.
We're just on telephones and you got
You're-
zeros
you're
in all
lucky.
3
We
of
haven't
those
got past
accounts.
that.
Okay.
And the 584 is just a blank, and we think that once that's figured out, it'll answer all the questions.
And you understand that, I mean, you got telephones in 3 different accounts, and you don't have enough phones, but you got way more budgeted than you have phones.
Okay.
And that's what we're trying to figure out is what are you actually paying it out of? What do we need to, because the thing that we don't want to do is cut something and you need it. So, and right now I can tell you, they're looking at it and they're thinking cutting. So we just want to make sure. All right, we're going to table,
584.
Each year they have to transfer back and forth from one, like for example, they say grant use fund 1, next you use fund 2, and then you go back use fund 1 again, so you would see zeros in some of these columns. Yeah.
Well, what-
Is that what you're asking?
we just need to figure out.
Numbers.
Vaughn, I don't disagree with you, we'll just take that one particular subject, let's not look at anything else.
Okay.
Let's look at,
I turned off because she was up here, I apologize.
let's look at telephones.
Just for that only one.
Right.
Okay? You got 4,000, 1,500, and 1,500, I believe is right?
Budgeted.
So like
Budgeted.
account 179, which is county money, why is there a line item in there for phones if they've got way more money in their
They have
account?
grant money, they shouldn't have anything.
Right. So,
And then if you go to
9107.
584, I mean, there's a bunch of zeros going all the way across, so there was no.
go ahead.
I think the confusion is, we're talking about 9106, and right now we're paying out of 9107. So for you to get a clear picture, you would need the 9107 account in front of you, because those funds alternate. 9106 was last year, 9107 is this year. So next year we'll have to go back to 9106 because of DOC.
So we don't have a 9107 here.
91.
Just successfully even confused us more.
Yes, so we don't even have, then we weren't given that paperwork.
So let's instead of just dragging this out, there's a motion to table,
Second,
179, 584, and 590. There's a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, thank you. So we're gonna talk about that. And is there anybody else coming today besides the auditor and the council?
IT down there, she's ready to go.
She's not.
She is too.
She's down there for today?
We went lunchtime, we talked.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So who we doing next? You or the auditor?
We'll talk.
Pardon? Then assume the position.
We can get you the historical data for the 9107 account
So that's what's missing.
offline.
What the heck is IT tomorrow at 1 o'clock? All right, I'm way past my break period here. So.
That's emergency management.
I got her. I got her.
Now we're getting real serious.
I can't read without them. I'm like
Okay.
at that. Believe
See,
me, I
we're
would prefer not
You
to.
gotta get these ones, you know, like the ones that are a little half.
Yeah, but I only paid like $3 at Ollie's for these.
Let the record show that Darlene brought her union rep with her.
Yeah.
Just so-
We're gonna print out the 9107 budget history and give it to you right now for your take it home. for everybody.
Thank you.
All right, Darlene, what do you got? Tell us what you're doing.
Let me get there.
You're not the only one.
So, on the 2 and 300s, computer maintenance, I raised it $2,500, and that was just because, you know, prices are going up. Tech and soft support, we're up about 50-ish, and that's to cover
60.
the Microsoft Office renewal. Well, 60-ish. It's 57 or 55, something like that, yeah. Is what the renewal costs, and I'll be coming back to you guys here in a month or two when that comes due to get that, because you cut it last year. Just to get that paid for the Office 365 for this year. Education and training, that's training for all of myself and my staff, plus we have bought training for our county employees for Microsoft Office, the whole suite that they can utilize, and some departments are really utilizing it a lot. I've gotten compliments that, they've learned a lot, which makes them more efficient in their offices. Mileage, I left the same. We don't use a whole, mileage I could, I would prefer to leave it the same. They don't turn any mileage in until the end of the year. So, maintenance contracts has went up. I just have moved the sheriff's internet costs and transport costs over to my account, so it's all under one account.
Everyone hold off then, please. So, everybody was familiar with the sheriff with the extra cost that was incurred on for the
Internet?
internet. So where does that come in?
So I've now moved all of the internet and transport charges for the sheriff underneath my budget.
For which line item?
That's under the 30007 maintenance contracts.
That's what I thought. So, okay, so 3007, if you remember, that was what the sheriff was paying $7,000 for.
Right, but that's
Here was 28,000.
Correct, but they ended up taking the $7,000 for 2022, but 2023 is where the increase is.
We paid 20. Well, we wound up paying 20.
No, you only paid
Sure.
like $7,000, I think. Whatever you guys approved that night is what they paid.
The 7,000.
Yep.
They approved it, and they
Which is what has
7,500 or
been,
something like
yeah,
that.
which is what has been happening.
5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what is it for this next year?
We had them move it over to ours. I believe it went with the transport costs and everything. It's 25,000 additional on my account, but then the sheriff wouldn't be paying it. So all internet charges are going to be through us.
Andy, can we reduce the sheriff's if that was the case?
Well, you would think if the sheriff was paying that out of his.
I don't know what he paid it out of. I don't know what account he was paying
Right.
internet out of.
Okay. So just need to make a note.
Bottom line, the whole question is that we're not gonna get the service for the 7,000 anymore. That was been for 7 years. I'm sorry, 7 years we've been paying 7,000. The sheriff had refused to pay any more, and again, that's where it stayed at. So we have to either decide to go the amount that's offered right now and let it go into this account. Everybody's okay with it?
Have you?
Oh yes, I sure have.
What?
Ryan
You have
checked with
what?
Frontier, and I
Shopped
checked
it?
with AT&T,
Okay.
and I do have that paperwork here.
Give you names.
Yeah.
How about that? I knew what
Pretty
you were
good.
gonna say.
Yeah, jeez. All right, I don't have a problem with that. Where are we at with the backup?
That is running, and we are still in the process of moving because we have a lot, and there's been a lot going on with other things. So getting everything to do the replication, we have started replicating 911 over to Michigan City, which kind of jumped in
When you
that
anticipate
way.
being done? Just ballpark.
I'm shooting
The next
for.
week? Just kidding.
Give me a month. I'm hoping for the end of August. We are also, but we have, like I said, when 911 had an issue and their stuff went down, we didn't have that replicated. So it did cause an issue for 911 and sheriff. That is now being replicated to a second site so that if something happens, they can run from Michigan, from our site. And the multi-factor authentication, Michigan City offices are about half done and we're about half done. I have provided all the dongles to the sheriff's office, IT.
Dongles.
So have you ever been to the doctor and they press the button that gives them a code so they can log in?
My son.
That thing.
Quite a bit, yeah.
So, some people will be utilizing a phone app, some people will be utilizing their dongles. That's about halfway probably installed also.
What's your preference on 157? Mr. Yagowski?
Yeah, Mr. President, I can make a motion to accept the 200, 300 accounts on 157.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Yagowski, second by Mr. Rosenbaum. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
So why are you,
So-
when it's here, I would ask her to talk about one other conversation. We've asked for some IT meetings. Nobody's scheduling the meetings, so I'm not the president, but the long part of it is that at work I have to use a 12-digit number to get myself into my computer work. We have simple passwords here we're still using. We're putting ourselves into a lot of risk. We have to look at the idea. Was it password and also the
So, when your screen will go to sleep. So during this whole multi-factor authentication implementation, we also want to change our policy to make it, more difficult passwords and set a
Go to
time
sleep
limit
quicker,
on
right.
their PCs, and we have to do a group policy so the user can't change it back.
Right.
To where if they get up and go to lunch, their computer is going to lock.
Right.
But we have to give them enough time that if they go to the counter to help somebody, they don't have to log back in every time they go, for a couple minutes. So that's a fine line. I'm trying to figure out what time frame we're going to set that at. But that's another thing that actually the state is requiring.
Okay.
So we're trying to, and insurance, yes.
Right.
So we're trying to implement it all three at once. We do have some, not happy users, but
It is, I will tell you, it is a royal pain in the butt that every time I have to log into some things, I gotta hit send a code and I gotta have my phone sit next to me and read the code and put it in fast enough before it flashes off my screen.
Yeah.
But I understand that it's necessary, so,
It is. So
Because-
hopefully we'll have that done by the end of August also.
Mr. Cunningham?
Question for both of you, I forgot to ask Barb when you were up. Do you have any kind of perpetuation fund or non-reverting fund?
I do not.
Barb, you don't have one either?
Just the user fee.
Just a
Right.
surcharge.
Those are fees,
Right.
and that comes on our sheet, right?
you said 600,000, I think you said?
It was 132,000 times 12.
132,000,
But current balance
Month.
is 600 and something.
that's
600
all we have in.
Yeah.
Right.
650.
Right. Thank you.
So I want to talk about real quick, if I can, on the 100 accounts. So again, on my Form 144, I actually have two different versions. I have the regular one that I have to send Vaughn. And then I have the one I submitted Vaughn, which included, so we have 3 network admins in the county. One for 911. He is unclassified, non-exempt, so he does get overtime or comp time. We have Ryan in the sheriff's office is a network admin for the sheriff, and then we have
But he is-
Ting,
but he's
but
a
he's
dealer.
paid. No, we had that change. So he's paid out of the sheriff's budget. And then we have Ting, who's paid out of my budget, and he is a network admin also. So at the evaluation committee meeting, we did have the job description and everything set for Ryan to be network admin, because previously he was labeled a jailer, but he hasn't been a jailer ever, I don't think. That was done way back in the Jimmy Arnold days, is when that was set up originally. So he is now a network admin, unclassified, non-exempt. So he would still get comp time, overtime, whatever, through the sheriff's budget. I did include that person on my 144 that I sent Vaughn just so that I would remember to talk about it. And then Ting in my office would also be, because they're all 3 the same, unclassified, non-exempt. And Barb had put in the request, so we need them all 3 to make the same money because they all 3 do the same job. Currently, Roscoe makes $51,494. Barb had put in a request for Roscoe to have the a $10,000 increase. So I have included that for Ryan and Ting also on my side. Ryan for the sheriff's side, but the sheriff probably didn't get that done yet. And that was done through not the salary, the reevaluation was done through the evaluation committee and brought up at budget hearings.
Okay.
And then also on my system technicians, I asked for an additional 5,000. I have 2 system technicians for each of those employees. Currently, starting salary for a system tech is $38,841, and you have clerks or just any other office personnel that right out of high school can come in and get a job making $36,197. So I did ask for a 5,000 increase for those 2 system techs also.
Nope.
And I believe we actually
Excuse me.
qualify under lit, same as 911.
Let me make sure I follow this. You're talking about system text, that's 10184
Yes.
line? You
No,
said-
no.
Well, that's what
Yeah,
it shows
well,
up here. System technician
So
on
they're
ours
all
is
kind of paid out of that,
10184.
the way that Joey had it set up. So everybody except for myself and Craig are paid out of the 10184.
Is
Even Casey Foreman, who used to be in-house printing, it got moved into my budget. They just kind of threw her in the system tech category. She is a different rating. She's a comment. So, but it's all under that 10184.
How many people are in your system tech line, 10184? How many people are on that line?
4. But you have Casey.
3
and then,
plus 1.
Well,
3 system techs
actually,
and 1.
no, I only have 2 system techs, 1 network admin on the county side, and the comment position.
So you got 4 people, you're asking for an increase of $22,700 approximately, right?
So I'm asking for the increase for the network admin and the 2 system techs.
What is Ting currently
That's like
making?
$7,000 per person increase,
Team
correct?
is
he
currently
making the
making
51,494 the same
he's
as
at
Roscoe?
49 maybe, 48. I don't remember.
But you want to take him to the 61 like Roscoe?
Yeah, if that's what you guys approve. If not, it would be the 51,494.
And what is Ryan currently making?
That's a jailer position.
45.
So one's at 45, one's at
Somewhere around there,
51.
No, Roscoe's at 51, yes.
So one's at 51, one is at
45.
45.
Ting is like 46, 47.
Wow.
How does that happen?
You have three
It's
different
years and
departments.
years of,
No, it's people that were allowed to take departments over. For example, it was a situation where Mr. Arnold, Sheriff Arnold, started this technician. He got to put under his budget. It's a working officer, so he's making his money as an officer.
right, he was currently a
There was
jailer,
person
yeah.
that way before Barb, on their part, gotten paid from that department. They got paid from these other departments. We tried to get them back together. We have collectively gotten together because
Yes.
they now work for Darlene, but they still get paid through their departments.
But now we gotta bring their pay more in line.
IT is, all the IT is under Darlene,
Right.
but.
Management wise.
Right, but I have Roscoe. Oh, I'm sorry, but I have Roscoe, and then the jail has Ryan, and Darlene has Ting, and
I understand that concept. What I don't understand is how they got so far apart in salaries, but now they're saying that it's because each department was paying for it out of their budget and giving them different.
Please silence your phones if you could.
Yes, that's what's happening, unless you're emergency manager.
The second warning.
I'd like to ask, when do you do the 100, so I don't miss you?
We'll let you know.
Last time it was like November 7th.
We hope that we plan to have it in more of a timely fashion because
September, October.
last year was way too late,
November
so,
17th.
yeah.
So you don't know yet, is that what you're telling me?
No.
It'll be early
Just
than
asking.
November.
Early November?
No, earlier than November. We're trying to go for
Earlier.
September or October.
Okay, thank you.
We have to, right now, just for your information, we have to try to get a lit group together so we can figure out how to balance the lit budget. That starts the project.
Do you want me to help?
Sure.
Yes.
You're on
You wanna organize everybody, if you can get it all set together and just
We
let
can
us
do
know
that.
what it is, we can.
Darlene and I'll take care of the whole
No, you
thing.
will. All right. Thank you.
I would prefer not to.
Thank you.
I'm a little busy with other
Thank you.
projects. Any other
All right.
questions?
No, would you like to go ahead and do the auditor's budget
No.
while you're here? Are you representing the auditor too?
Do you want me to sit up here? I've got my
Representing
cushion.
the, I didn't know.
Come on, Tim, I'll
It's all
help
about
you.
the cushion.
I think that cushion makes her just a little bit taller than everybody else. It gives her that authority. All right, we're moving on to 102, auditor.
Would you like us to approach the honorable bench, or?
So elected officials, we can cut that.
Vaughn is not aware of this, but I would like to request, I'm sorry, Vaughn, 100,000 for legal. It's a joke.
I was like,
Probably could use it.
Toledo, yeah.
I was trying to
He wants the
elicit
same
a
amount as the
curse
commissioners.
from the president of the commission on tape.
Right.
Council? Vaughn, if you would do the honors or no?
You McCarper, do it here, doesn't make a
So
difference.
what changes do you have here real
Wait a
quick?
minute till we find the form here, please.
102,
The soil and water.
it's right before
And before
prosecutor. Yeah.
I've got less pay, we got 3 new employees. I asked for an increase in the dues because the auditor's dues go up drastically last year. Other than that's it.
You got a slight increase in printing and office supplies?
Yes, order, yes.
Is that the way I'm reading that?
Yeah, 1,196.
You increased it by $96?
Well, yeah, that's all we need for right now.
Box of pencils.
It is.
Yeah,
I would,
great.
What we're trying to do, we're trying to actually cut drastically the price of paper products we've been ordering, like for the checks, envelopes, because we're trying to do everything ACH, just like payroll is. We have to slowly but surely blend into that, because about every 2.5 years, we have to fork out almost $5,000 for getting the checks, having all the bills and stuff paid. That's the reason we need more money, dual homestead act, et cetera. But hopefully that'll be cut drastically over the next 2 years.
Okay.
we would ask you to leave. It's a minuscule amount, that the mileage, I went to a conference or two and I didn't claim mileage from the county, I just ate it myself, but so if you would, someone may ask the fact that we didn't spend anything, but it's usually something that typically would be used.
What's your preference?
Well, we also have to eliminate the 4,000 account because we're no longer leasing or renting anything.
That's a bond payment.
That's the bond payment.
Why is
That's
it
a-
under in 400 account?
That's what was under the regular 1,000. When they first came out for you guys for the bond, they put it in a hurry and put it under the 100 accounts. And I was told, put it under ours, better for me to look at it and keep track of. That's all it was. So we moved it over to 400.
That's fine.
All right.
Michigan City Courthouse bond.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Can't that line just say Michigan City Courthouse bond instead of a lease payment?
I can try to see if I can change it. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Do accounting.
MCCH, Michigan City Courthouse.
Got it.
Bond instead of lease.
What's your
Motion to
preference?
approve is 200-300 accounts, 200 and 400 accounts as presented.
Second.
Who seconded?
Connie.
Yeah.
Second by Mrs. Grammarosa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Auditor, real estate endorsement.
Question on
Oh,
this
sorry,
account.
go ahead.
Do you have a perpetuation fund or anything like that? Thank you.
Who has the real estate?
I'll let you know. I'll pull it up and tell you when's the last time something was paid.
Who has the real estate?
When they,
Is that the treasurer?
Homestead.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the.
So you so you do have.
Well, it's I guess you could call it a pseudo perpetuation fund.
Okay,
I
the
suppose.
pseudo perpetuation.
But the amounts that are in it, except I don't know if it's except 100,000 or how that works, goes back to the county, goes back to I think to the general, isn't it?
It's kind of got a cap on it.
They have to do that statutorily, right? That's my understanding. So I think we can just keep 100,000. Keep in mind, again, those are the monies that are accumulated from people we go after who have double homesteads, one in another state and one here. So it's I don't want to say it's a reward, but I guess it's an inducement by the state to have us keep that money until the end of the year, when most of it goes back to the county as a whole.
So let's go on to 1181. Well, if you guys are looking that up.
No, this is the claims where it's just in case.
Are these claims all?
Because we've only spent 300 in the last 2 years.
So you use 1181 for?
That's what he's talking about, yeah, the claims.
Nothing.
I'll let you know last time something.
Wait for them to be done with their conversation. Maybe we can start this TV show.
Not spending very much, are they?
No, it's 295.
This is our real estate office, the across the hall from the main office. This is something that they get off of the paperwork that they do. Vaughn's gonna, if you want, Vaughn's gonna load in the claims and see what the expenditures are. Is this effectively?
Spent $295 in 22, and the most is $285 in 21.
It's not used. It isn't used a lot, no, sir. The only reason I put down the 10,000, traditionally, that's what they've always asked for.
So we can cut that to like $1,000? Does this come out of that pseudo perpetuation fund that you have, or does this come out of?
This is,
general?
ours is, no, this is not different. Ours is dual homestead, this is not dual homestead.
Where's the GIS at?
I couldn't tell you.
Assessor's office.
So could we cut that to $1,000? Looks like you're not spending 300 a year on it, but.
She spent the prior 2 years back.
I mean, look, what does it did for this year?
He's gonna try and look and see what they spent another year or two back, I guess. See if it's been low.
Yeah, he just got 9:30, I think.
Yeah.
9:30 or 10:30 for the public defender tomorrow, right?
Yeah, they
I
were
think
talking-
9:30.
Yeah, they were
That's what I
talking to
thought.
him at lunch.
We're starting at 9:30 tomorrow?
No, 9 o'clock, but the public defender's coming at 9:30.
I may be a little bit late because I got an 8 o'clock doctor appointment.
think we'll go till 3 o'clock because we're taking.
Yeah, no, to,
This is the
to
last
December
one.
31st,
Well, we got the
2021.
councils.
December 31st, 2021.
Yeah, well,
We're just gonna look at 2020.
Liz.
I'm sorry, no, we already got 21, we need 20, to December 31st, 2020. Give us one moment, please.
Hey, while they're doing that, let's go on to the councils, which is 144.
Those council people.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd like to increase the professional services so that we can start start doing some efficiency studies next year. We just will have to get the approval, I guess, from the, I just don't know if we need the attorney to tell us whether or not we can do that.
But do we need to put it as a line item for every year, or is it just?
It's gonna be a one-time special, well, it could be over for the next 2 years.
So I think, my personal thing was that would be an appropriation.
But if it's in our budget, we're more likely to get the commissioners to approve.
We don't need the
What's the
commissioners.
question again, Mr. Rosenbaum?
Say it again.
Well, I'd like to start doing an efficiency study, and we have a proposal, but it's substantial amount of money, so I wanted to increase the professional services so that we could do one or two rounds of it next year.
I think you're talking about, I guess the only issue is that, and I have no problem with that, you have to get a contract okayed by the commissioners.
Well, that would be so that would require the commissioners.
But if it's budgeted, then we can at least say it's budgeted.
But if they don't agree to contract, then you won't have.
So then the money will go back.
So, but we could just appropriate it.
That's true, we can take it out of something
Right.
else at the time.
Right.
What is the dollar amount you're looking at, Mr. Rosenbaum?
I was just thinking of adding another 50,000 to it for now, and then if we needed more than that, right now the study for a full-blown study is about $180,000, and I'm not looking to do a full-blown study on every department. I just wanted to see us start something.
Aren't you looking at for this year though?
No,
Oh,
I would have liked to done it this year, but
Why wouldn't you start it now?
start it now.
We can just do an appropriation.
well, let's talk about it after.
All right, so let's look at
then we-
144. What else?
Line 10142 is incorrect. At 16.8 should be 20,000 or whatever the council members make. He's getting the same salary as any one of us, correct? Except the president? Pretty sure he is. So I think if you
The
take,
president should get an extra 1,000.
he does. That's why he's on
No,
the
he should
first.
get a second 1,000, because he does so much more.
So you're saying the attorney should be 20,000?
If you take the line above it and divide by 6, I think that would be the exact figure.
It's $2,561.
20,000,
$561.
that makes sense. So that's what that line should be then, 142. And I would support the motion that Mr. Rosenbaum just tendered, that we increase the president's salary to 22,561. I mean, that's a 100 line, and we're not gonna do that now anyway, but.
We're not doing either one of them now,
Yeah,
but
we're not doing either
we're
one
just
of them.
discussing it now.
Well, first of all, the 10142, we can change now because that's an error. It should have been 20,561.
Well, we
That's
can
what
make
he
sure
got
that
paid
gets put
last
in there
year.
before the next.
Our attorney's getting the same as board members, I believe, isn't he, Vaughn?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
I thought he gave us a proposal.
Give us so much money
Yeah.
per hour, and he's cheaper than.
But are you saying,
I think it's the same as the minimum salary for a board member. We can double check it.
I don't have a problem. I think
Isn't it like $12.50 a month? So the times 12 is gonna be, I don't know, it's
That's
12.50 a
14
month.
something.
Yeah, that's the, yeah.
It's 20,000 a year. No, it's,
So what do you want to do with the council, 144? You want to do anything with the attorney right now
We can wait, we got time to figure that out.
on that? But the rest of it, you're okay?
Well, those are all 100 account anyway.
Well, then we
Yeah,
got
we'll-
office supplies, everybody got enough office supplies?
Well, when and where do we get that office supplies?
You go see Vaughn. Vaughn will give you pencils.
Whatever you want.
One per,
Here's the pens today.
one
I
per
got a pen.
week, one
I didn't
pencil
take
per.
that.
Yeah, and I brought it, and I
got
bought
No,
it.
that's gonna put us over
I got a
budget.
pen.
1 pencil per week, 1 pen per month.
That would put us over budget.
Yeah. All right, what's your pleasure on the 144s, 200 and 300 accounts?
Those are my
I still
kind
think
of
I
change.
still think we need more than $6,000 in professional fees. I'd like to make it.
For
at least
what?
I don't know. Maybe it's because ARP stuff. Maybe it's, I don't know what else.
We can always add to it, but I mean, if you
Yeah.
got something in mind,
Well, I told you what I had in mind. You said don't add it. So
Well,
leave it go
because we
as
could do
is.
that now.
There's other people right now. Just leave it go as is. Then.
Traditionally, professional, I guess the professional service contracts are, even if they're at your pleasure, I mean, they're funded through the commissioner budget typically, right? So,
So motion approved as is.
but, well, I'm not saying it's wrong.
That's what
I'm
I
just
made.
saying that, I'm just asking
Made
for a
that
discussion around.
You did.
Yeah.
Well, it was
you
second.
already made the motion?
Yes, I
To pass
tried.
this?
And if it wasn't
Yes, I
second, I'll
tried it.
second it.
It doesn't preclude you from doing it.
Just talking then.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Motion.
Wait a
Motion was
minute,
just
what
to
is the
pass
motion?
200 and 300 accounts as they are.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. Yeah, it's the only thing we're doing right now.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right, do we need to go back to the auditor?
Yeah, we're comfortable with that 1,000. It looks like,
Motion to
Yeah.
approve at 1,000.
So we're back to 1181. We're gonna take that to $1,000. And that was you,
I made the motion. Like I said.
Rosenbaum. Is there a second?
Anybody?
Second by Terry Gardner.
This is on the auditor real estate endorsement?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
I don't have to change the public defender, but I do know that there's nothing to his account except for that Mr. Cunningham went to the meeting. They have to increase it, they're paying $90 an hour only for public defenders. There's nobody paying, working for that amount, so it went up $200,000 to, and just on that professional services. It's something that we have to defend the public defender is something we have to support. I just make a motion that we accept the public defender because there's nothing else they can do there with their money but take care of people. I make a motion for 180 account, and we can just give them a call and tell them accept it, but that's my 200, 300 account.
Public defender is
180.
180.
It's down towards the
It's
back.
one,
Yeah.
it was one,
It's like
1.2 million, now it's 1.4
It's like 10
million.
back from the bottom, from the end.
Okay, so we're going from,
Mark, you made the motion?
Yes, sir.
I'll second.
It's about 6 from the bottom. It's right in front of the
yeah,
sheriff.
I've got it. So we're going from 100,000 to 200,000?
No, we're just, it's, he said it was a $200,000 increase from 1.2 million to 1.4 million.
Right. For
So he's
public
talking about the whole
defenders.
thing.
Because of the cost of getting public defenders.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Accept it like it is, right?
All in favor say,
As
Okay.
is.
as presented for
Aye.
2023. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
does that mean Mr. Bragy does not need to
Yeah,
come?
tell me
This
this.
is
I'll
not
accept
need
it as-
true.
I'll call him, I've got his number. I've got his number, personal phone number.
Ooh.
He's my new attorney. My new attorney, I moved up.
I got a new attorney, they'll give me my number.
All right, so then
I just have Shaw's.
tomorrow, we're gonna get the commissioners, the garage, the jail, the sheriff, Superior 3, and Purdue Extension all into the morning.
Did you independently contact Purdue Extension then, President?
I will. I sent an email. I haven't heard back.
You're
But
right.
I'll, what's that? Election board's done.
We just did it.
Yeah.
They
Voter
came in about,
registration?
Came in right with the
We did
clerk.
voter registration.
I still wanna,
Did we?
still wanna know, doesn't he have to present a GIS report?
no, because there's no GIS group anymore. He works for.
He's
Just to
under
let you know,
Schultz.
Earl did
He's
the
under
motion,
Schultz.
I second the motion
Not
on
a
the,
separate department.
And it was as is?
as is.
They took that department
Thank you.
away almost 7 years ago.
I remember that, but I still thought he had a report.
Nope, he just works for Joey like the.
So are we finished?
Joe, he worked for, I thought he was under the auditor.
Mr. Novak,
He was. when he was in Raleigh.
cameraman, camerawoman.
I think we are. We're just finishing. So tomorrow we're starting at 9 a.m.
She was gonna see if she could get Judge Thorne, but she's not back yet. Just 1 sec.
Hang on one second.
Brady's been notified, he's not coming.
We're coming now.
Judge Thorne's coming.
Judge Thorne is coming. Who, I know that, I shouldn't overspeak, I know that when Joey had this job that the GIS worked for her. Does GIS work for you? Who's he work for? Assessor's office.
I thought it was Joey too.
Can I just confirm that you
It
have?
was, but then they switched jobs. I guess he had to.
My schedule?
Yeah, I have county highway. Do the people know to come
I don't
earlier?
understand that.
Yeah, I just told him, everybody needs to be
They
here.
always went through the,
Everybody needs to be, listen, everybody needs to be here before noon tomorrow, correct? We need somebody at 9 o'clock. So you could probably stack them. The Michigan Township assessor isn't gonna take long, the county assessor, MS4. 10:30 is open, is that a
He's got to be
break?
Superior.
Superior 3?
Okay, there they are.
What is Judge Thorne?
Is he Superior 3?
3, right?
Yeah.
Sit, sit.
Here, 2.
Sit.
It's 3. I know it is.
Judge Thorne is here.
Who do we have?
We have Superior 3.
So tomorrow we have.
And
And lads.
Purdue Extension, IT got.
All right.
Spenberg we got.
So on 151,
Yes, that's me.
Wait a minute, where are they at, Randy?
they're right before the public
I
defender.
got you, they're close to the back, guys.
Yep.
Everything
you.
remains.
You asked for $1,000 increase in the travel?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Uh-oh, they're on the road.
Judge Thorne decreased that a couple years ago when COVID started because they weren't able to go anywhere. So now he's,
Planning on going somewhere.
well, right now he's at the Veterans Treatment Court in Tennessee conference, the judges conference, the spring he went to, and he's going to the fall also. And so we've kind of had to scramble to find the funds.
Motion to approve the 2 and 300 accounts for Superior 3, 151.
Motion by Mr. Cunningham,
Second.
second by Mr. Rosenbaum. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All
Thank
right,
you.
let's get down to lads, the real reason we're here today. Just- Is there anything
You
we,
need an appointment?
yeah. Comedy to the council, all right? Just saying.
She's on her own.
So you guys are planning on traveling this year also, because you didn't travel last year and you haven't spent anything this year?
Actually, Deb is at a conference now, but they did get a grant to cover that. She will be going to a conference this fall. She's required to go to the ones in Indy twice a year. So sometimes we're able to finagle to get it covered, sometimes we aren't.
Okay.
We just don't know that. But she will be going this fall, and we will have to pay for that.
Other than that, there's really not much.
I have a question, just out of curiosity.
Sure.
11009 Medicare withheld. It's virtually the same, went up $80. The OASI, the line above that, went up a couple, about 300.
Those are all payroll taxes.
Well, did payroll taxes go up? Because salaries don't go up here. You're not showing any increase in salaries.
We did get raises.
Okay. Well, I'm looking
But
at
their
it.
salaries are the same. I agree, Mr. Cunningham.
Right.
Your 22 adopted budget shows 43,123, and your 23 budget request is 43,123, showing no increase.
I got it here.
Second line,
But I don't see it.
22 adopted was 72,736, and the 23 request is 72,736. So your salaries that you're requesting are exactly the same as they were last year, but you're
Right,
showing.
it fell short last year in those categories, so all I did was take it by the percentages I was given by payroll to figure out how much to ask for, so, I mean,
So if you add 1107, 1109, and 11017, I haven't done it yet, but they may equal the same, even though the numbers are different.
So what you're saying is your salaries were fine, but your insurance was reduced. Okay, that's fine.
Right.
Thank you. It's an insignificant amount. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Good answer. Any other questions or comments?
Good answer.
Motion to approve 2 and 300 for lads,
Second.
2502 or 242.
Motion by Mr. Cunningham, seconded by Mr. Yagowski.
Calm down.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, what you got?
Well, where's your user fee?
Yeah, you have user fees,
I don't think so.
and so we just want to double check what your balances are. And how they can be used.
I mean, I didn't have opportunity to prepare, but I did print this out real quick when Darlene, I mean, I can, what we've collected so far through the second quarter, $40,945
You collected or total?
this year so far, the first,
Is that
second
total
quarter.
or just what you collected this year?
That's what we've collected through the second quarter this year.
What do you use that on?
It goes straight to the budget.
Goes back to the budget?
Everything we collect goes toward the budget.
And what is your accumulated balance in that account? Did you have some left over from last year? Or
It's always rolled over.
Gotcha.
We don't ever keep it.
Okay.
So it rolls back into the general fund.
Everything goes to the general fund that we collect always.
We're good then.
Judge Thorne, anything on that account?
No.
Some of the
The
judges.
only thing that,
It's the probation user fees that we
Yeah.
get from Steve Irick.
Okay.
yeah, everything goes.
Great. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Great day.
You too.
So, so then we're gonna reconvene tomorrow morning at 9 AM. And then I'll contact Purdue Extension. You guys will make sure that,
You got the sheriff at 10, right? That's what I'm hearing.
I don't have
What's that?
the
Sheriff?
sheriff at 10?
We said, I asked him to come at 10 o'clock.
Okay, so
I
Mark.
asked the commissioner to come at 9 o'clock and the sheriff to come at 10 o'clock.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
I thought we had the commissioners at
And
10:30.
then
You got the commissioners at 9? Okay.
And they do have meetings in here tonight, so we probably need to move
We
our
can't
stuff.
take we can't leave
Fine,
it.
commissioners meeting tonight. I think you can just move it to the back, put it against the wall.
Right.
Decide if you want.